Hare Krishna, welcome to this episode of Bhagavad-gītā, and today's verse is we are going to start the 8th chapter, chapter 8, text 1 and 2 actually, the first two verses of the 8th chapter. So the topic is the process of perfect inquiry. How to make a perfect inquiry and what that actually entails. That's what we're going to learn today in this session of Bhagavad-gītā. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatirmirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalaṁ Shri Gurun Vaishnavaṁscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So welcome to this Bhagavad-gītā class. I am sorry for the delay. And today's session, we are actually beginning the 8th chapter of the Bhagavad-gītā. So today we will learn about the first two verses, which are actually Arjuna's questions. And he actually teaches us how to even ask questions. Okay? Because if we want answers, instead of researching with our senses and theorizing and postulating, we have to ask the correct source and a method how to ask. Then we will get the answers, every answer. So that's what Arjuna is teaching us. And what should the subject matter of inquiry be? So all this we will learn today. So let's go to chapter 8, text 1. Arjuna uvāca Kim tad brahma kim adhyātmaṁ Kim karma puruṣottama adhibhūtaṁ ca kim proktam adhidaivaṁ kim ucyate. Arjuna uvāca. Arjuna said, Kim, what? Tat, that. Brahma, Brahman. Kim, what? Adhyātmaṁ, the self. Kim, what? Karma, fruitive activities. Puruṣottama, O Supreme Person. Adhibhūtaṁ, the material manifestation. Cha, and. Kim, what? Proktam is called. Adhidaivaṁ, the demigods. Kim, what? Ucyate is called. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Arjuna inquired, O my Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is the self? What are fruitive activities? What is this material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain this to me. Purport. In this chapter, Lord Krishna answers different questions from Arjuna, beginning with, what is Brahman? The Lord also explains karma, fruitive activities, devotional service and yoga principles, and devotional service in its pure form. The Srimad Bhagavatam explains that the Supreme Absolute Truth is known as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. In addition, the living entity, the individual soul, is also called Brahman. Arjuna also inquires about Atma, which refers to body, soul, and mind. According to the Vedic dictionary, Atma refers to the mind, soul, and body, and senses also. Arjuna has addressed the Supreme Lord as puruṣottama, Supreme Person, which means that he was putting these questions not simply to a friend, but to the Supreme Person, knowing him to be the supreme authority able to give definitive answers. And we will just read the second verse as well. Adhiyajñaḥ kathaṁ kotra dehe smin Madhusūdana prayāṇa-kāle ca kathaṁ jñeyo niyatātmabhiḥ. Adhiyajñaḥ, the Lord of Sacrifice. Kathaṁ, how. Kah, who. Atra, here. Dehe, in this body. Asmin, this. Madhusūdana, O Madhusūdana. Prayāṇa-kāle, at the time of death. Cha, and. Kathaṁ, how. Jñeyo asi, you can be known. niyatātmabhiḥ, by the self-controlled. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Who is the Lord of sacrifice and how does he live in the body? O Madhusūdana. And how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death? So purport, Lord of Sacrifice may refer to either Indra or Vishnu. Vishnu is the chief of the primal demigods, including Brahma and Shiva, and Indra is the chief of the administrative demigods. Both Indra and Vishnu are worshipped by yajna performances. But here, Arjuna asks who is actually the Lord of yajna, sacrifice, and how the Lord is residing within the body of the living entity. Arjuna addresses the Lord as Madhusūdana because Krishna once killed a demon named Madhu. Actually, these questions, which are of the nature of doubts, should not have arisen in the mind of Arjuna because Arjuna is a Krishna conscious devotee. Therefore, these doubts are like demons. Since Krishna is so expert in killing demons, Arjuna here addresses him as Madhusūdana so that Krishna might kill the demonic doubts that arise in Arjuna's mind. Now, the word prayāṇa-kāle in this verse is very significant because whatever we do in life will be tested at the time of death. Arjuna is very anxious to know of those who are constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness. What should be their position at that final moment? At the time of death, all the bodily functions are disrupted and the mind is not in a proper condition. Thus disturbed by the bodily situation, one may not be able to remember the Supreme Lord. Maharaj Kulashekar, a great devotee, prays, "My dear Lord, just now I am quite healthy, and it is better that I die immediately so that the swan of my mind can seek entrance at the stem of your lotus feet." The metaphor is used because the swan, a bird of the water, takes pleasure in digging into the lotus flowers, its sporting proclivities to enter the lotus flower. Maharaj Kulashekar says to the Lord, "Now my mind is undisturbed and I am quite healthy. If I die immediately, thinking of your lotus feet, then I am sure that my performance of your devotional service will become perfect. But if I have to wait for my natural death, then I do not know what will happen because at that time the bodily functions will be disrupted, my throat will be choked up, and I do not know whether I shall be able to chant your name. Better let me die immediately." Arjuna questions how a person can fix his mind on Krishna's lotus feet at such a time. So much to say about these two verses. So if maybe I request all the devotees to share in the groups and wherever in the social media, because we have started so late today, so the others might not be aware of this. So please get them on this class if you can. So these two questions, these two verses really show us a lot about how to ask questions. Actually, sometimes these materialistic people, they say you don't have to know all the answers. You don't have to know all the right answers. If you know the right questions to ask, and they actually miss this point. If you ask the right person, then you can have all the right answers. So the the path to having the right answers and to have thus the complete knowledge, we have to have the right questions to pose, and we have to pose those questions to the right person and in the right attitude. So first of all, a person who can answer any question is should be a person of the perfect knowledge. And therefore here Arjuna is asking Puruṣottama these questions. He is asking the supreme authority in all the questions. In all knowledge, sorry. Shadaishwarya Purna. Krishna, God is called God, Bhagavan. The definition of Bhagavan or God. If in any religious denomination or in any, even among the so-called followers of Sanatana Dharma, if you ask the question, define God, they say, oh, God is not, cannot be defined, that is the meaning of God. Yes, in one sense they're right, but still there is a definition of God. And if he is undefinable, then that is the definition of God, but a more clarified definition, because it's not that it's totally undefinable. If the Lord reveals himself, he can be understood to an extent at least. So the Vedas, Vishnu Puran, Parashar Muni, who is a greatly realized, he is a God realized person himself. So Parashar Muni, the father of Vyasadeva, he has defined God. Bhagavan means the possessor of bhagas, all the 6 opulences. Bhagas means opulences. And Bhagyavan means one who is empowered or blessed by either one or more or all of these opulences. So Bhagavan means one who possesses these opulences, who is the master of these opulences. So that is defined as Aishvaryasya Samagrasya Viryasya Yashashasriya Jnana Vairagyayoschaiva Shannam Bhaga Itinganam. So there are 6 opulences, bhagas, and they are Aishvaryasya, wealth, then Viryasya, strength, Yashashaha, fame, Shriyaha, beauty, Jnanaha, knowledge, and Vairagya, renunciation. So this is live. Somebody is asking Om Aim Hrim. Om Aim Hrim. If it is live, please include audio, time and date. Yeah, this is live. So these 6 opulences. So each of these, God means he must possess all of these in infinite quantity. So one of them is knowledge, and he has to have unlimited knowledge. So such person can actually answer any question. So nowadays it is fashion that whatever we do not know, we ask Google or Bing, these search engines. But actually, what is Google? What is Google? Google search engine is just indexing all the websites of the world, and whoever has put content on it, on the web, the Google will just search through the entire web and then bring the results to us. So it is user generated content. So it is imperfect people who are putting the information in the internet, and Google is just searching according to our questions. It is searching the web and bringing the answers to us. So the answers may not be perfect when you search Google for the answer. You may know many things because there are many things which you may not know but others may know. So in that way you may have knowledge, but especially regarding God and regarding you know the purpose of creation and everything, not many people know, and some people just write their own speculations. So you will have those search results. So that's not how we learn what is true knowledge about these things. So puruṣottama, we have to ask the perfect person. Like in Vedanta Sutra, it is adhyātmaṁ brahma jñāsa. Brahma jñāsa. This Arjuna is just asking that. This is Brahma jñāsa. He is asking what is Brahman, what is adhyātmaṁ, what is karma, what is adhibhūtaṁ, what is adhidaivaṁ, what is adhiyajñaḥ, what is yeah. So he is saying, and the other question is at the time of death, how to remember you. These 7 questions that he put here summarizes the entire. The answers to this question is everything that you need to know in life. And if you see the 5 subject matters of Bhagavad-gītā, what are the 5 subject matters of Bhagavad-gītā? In the introduction of Bhagavad-gītā, Srila Prabhupada explains, and I am unable to until now find a Sanskrit verse, which lists down these 5 topics. But in one conversation with Vishwambhar Prabhu, so he was mentioning that these 5 topics are not only topics of Bhagavad-gītā, but also of the Upanishads. They also touch upon these 5 topics, and because Bhagavad-gītā also touches these 5 topics, therefore it is called Gita Upanishad, and that's how he explained it. So if Upanishads touch upon these 5 topics, or I think Puranas, Mahapuran, in every Mahapuran touches upon the 10 topics, it seems, which the Bhagavatam touches upon. These 5 topics are, I think, of the Upanishads or of the, I think it's Upanishads. So if even that verse can be found, that will be very helpful. But Prabhupada explains this in the introduction of Bhagavad-gītā. So what are the 5 topics of Bhagavad-gītā? Ishvara, the Supreme Lord; Jiva, the individual soul; Prakriti, the material manifestation; Kala, time; and Karma, activities. So if you see and if you study these questions, they touch upon every single one of them. So Kim Tat Brahma. Brahma means spirit. So that it's a supreme spirit and the individual spirit. So the Ishvara and Jiva are covered here. And then Kim Karma. So karma is one of them, the activities. Kim adhyātmaṁ, the self. So Brahman, the supreme absolute truth, is understood in Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. And adhyātmaṁ, of course, he is Atma means, again, it is a combination. So as Prabhupada explained, Atma is the soul, and according to context, it can also mean the body, the senses, and the mind. And body, senses, and mind belong to this material manifestation, and they are subdivisions of material Prakriti, material manifestations. So Kim Tat Brahma, Kim Adhyātmaṁ, Kim Karma, and Adhibhūtaṁ, the material manifestation in its entirety, which is again the Prakriti, and adhidaivaṁ, which is the demigods, they are jivas actually, and they are appointed administrators of the universe, appointed by the Supreme Lord. So they are partial expansions of the Supreme Lord. Although they are jiva, they are empowered expansions of the Supreme Lord, and they are also part of this material manifestation, and they are jiva, and they are empowered by the Ishvara. So so this is a variety within Prakriti, and Jiva Bhuta, Jiva Bhuta and Brahma Bhuta. Actually, both are referring to the spirit soul, but spirit soul in its liberated condition, he is called Brahma Bhuta, and in his conditional state, he is called as Jiva Bhuta. And in Jiva Bhuta, there are unlimited varieties. There are 8.4 million species. All those are different varieties of Jiva Bhuta. So each of these, when we say these 5 topics, It's not, oh, only five topics. No, no, no. Each and every one of them have unlimited subtopics under them. Unlimited. So, it is Daiva, the demigods, and then adhiyajñaḥ. Now, karma, already he asked, Kim karma, in the other verse. Now, here is asking adhiyajñaḥ, kathaṁ kotra. Adhiyajñaḥ. Again, that is also karma. Yajna is also karma. But this is purified or sanctified action, or at least authorized action. So, because in the last verse of the previous chapter, if you remember, we did last Wednesday, was it? Or last Sunday? Wednesday, yeah. So, if you see 7:30. साधिभूताधिदैवं साधियज्ञं च ये विदुः प्रयाणकाले पिचमां ते विदुर्युक्तचेतसः. So here Krishna says that what is this adhibhūta, adhidaivaṁ, adhiyajñaḥ. So those in full consciousness of me, who know me, the Supreme Lord, to be the governing principle, Mam. You see, I am the adhibhūta, adhidaiva, adhiyajñaḥ. I am the Lord of all these things. And to be the governing principle of material manifestation of the demigods and of the all methods of sacrifice. Can understand and know me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even at the time of death. So, how to know me at the time of death? They have to know that I am the governing principle of material manifestation, demigods and sacrifice. So, Arjuna is following up on this statement of Krishna. So, he is asking, because sometimes, when somebody says something which is so far out, something which is very sophisticated, and I don't understand what he's talking about. So, I may act, oh, yes, but I don't know what he's talking about. But if I may think, or if I don't say yes, I will look like a fool, so I will just say yes. But actually, by saying yes without asking and inquiring more into that, we will remain a fool. But by questioning, we actually become wiser. So, in other topics, it may not be necessary, but in this topic, it is very, very much necessary. So, when the spiritual master explains something, and if we are not clear about it, we have to inquire. So, that's why we have this AM session, and even the lecture. The lecture also, we have, after the lecture is finished, there is question and answer session. So, if anything is not understood in that lecture topic, so that can be asked. So, Radhika Mataji has mentioned some Sanskrit shloka here. Is there a English, transliteration of it? Otherwise, we can read that, but later. But if it is possible, if not, then we will read that later on. So, so these things, Bhalva Veya Shruti. Now, those who are known to be eternals will be told as follows: Ishvara, Prakriti, Jivatma, and Kala. These four are known as eternals. Those which are non-eternals are being said as follows: 10 types of life, air, faith, the 5 elements, water, fire, air, ether, earth, and the product of these 5 elements like the body, the 5 senses. Interesting. But where is the karma? I am actually looking for, this is something close. I am looking for that verse where these are the 5 topics of Purana, Okay, you share it, or later we will. Okay, so, those in full consciousness of me. So, this is what Krishna is saying. So, Arjuna is following up. So, how to be in full consciousness of you? So, I have to understand adhibhūta, adhidaivaṁ, and adhiyajñaḥ. And if I know this perfectly, then I can remember you at the time of death. Okay. So, now, what are these then? Please explain. So, that's how this whole thing started, you see. Arjuna is questioning. And even if you... So, okay, now we have seen that this actually ties to the 5 topics of Bhagavad-gītā, these questions. Next, even if you look at it from a modern scientist kind of way, This is the way how to perfectly inquire. First thing, instead of pure nonsense speculation, puruṣottama, addressed or questioning the perfect person. And about what? First of all, what do these material scientists they question about? They question about maybe the mind, the universe, and that may be adhibhūtaṁ. Adhibhūtaṁ is what they usually focus on, all the material manifestation. Life, they don't really understand. They may speak about it, but they don't really understand very well. So karma, yeah, sometimes they talk about what is right, what is wrong, but all this is based on their own speculation. Sometimes they say Black Lives Matter, and then we have to do this and that, and in many fields, many fields, they have what you should do, what you should not do. Every field they will talk about it, right? Karma they talk, but it is not at all sanctioned action or anything like that. There's no base. There's no base. Like, what is the basis of what is right and wrong? Everybody just have their own opinions and consensus based of those opinions. That's not how we come to the right path. Adhidaivaṁ, the higher forces. Sometimes people talk about these things, but in a very impersonalistic, vague terms. But this is where they really fall short. They have zero idea of what are the higher forces. Whatever is the higher force, they attribute it to chance. By chance, everybody has taken birth. Everything is by chance. Oh, by chance there was evolution. By chance there is so much variety of life on earth. By chance these earthquake happened. By chance volcanoes erupt. Yeah, they say tectonic plates, but the movement and the reasons for all of that is again they say chance. So many things are so-called chance, and this is where they cannot explain, and they say chance. That is a foolish way to explain. So instead of inquiring adhidaivaṁ, how to understand the demigods, oh, they are causing these things. Who are they and why are they doing it? And who gave them the order? So, oh, then there's Ishvara, there is actually the Supreme Lord who is actually, ordering them to do some things and they are doing. Oh, wow, there's a whole arrangement. But instead of questioning like that, their whole premise of science is to deny God. Real science means, um, yeah, so Dimitri Prabhu is saying, everything is too systematic to be a chance. Exactly. So if there is a law, even the scientists themselves say the law of gravity, the law of magnetic force, or the law of whatever. There's so many laws, but they deny the lawmaker. If there is a law, how the law came from chance? How? And even if something exploded and all this matter, where did it come from? They have zero answers, but they fail to question. Real science means we have to question. We have to question. How did it all come into existence? And if I don't know the answer and I cannot immediately give an answer, it doesn't matter. It is okay if I don't have the answer. So then I will keep on questioning, and maybe I will question the right person then, the devotee who is coming in the parampara system, and then I can have the answer directly from Krishna, like this from Bhagavad-gītā. But if I cannot find the answer, but I want to be known as a learned man, then I say, instead of saying I don't know, I will say I know Big Bang or something and deny God. And that's when all our answers fall short and we look like idiots. But science has so-called modern society, Western society, they have successfully brainwashed the vast majority of the world that, science is the way. So-called modern science of observation and experimentation is the way to go about. But they have completely neglected the fact that actually if we go to the perfect person and ask a question, just sitting in one place without doing anything and simply hearing the answers from that perfect person, we can know everything. And it can be either the Lord or even the spiritual master. So puruṣottama. So puruṣottama of course means the Lord, but another meaning of puruṣottama is the best person, right? Like Purusha means, of course, the Adi Purusha is Krishna, but even sometimes man is known as Purusha. And Purusha Uttama means the best of men. Who is that? The spiritual master. Of course, he is not an ordinary man. Of course, when he descends in human society, just like Narottam Das Thakur. Narottam, what is his name? What is the meaning of the word Narottama? Nara Uttama, the best of men. Naradhama, Bhagavad-gītā, the word is there, Naradhama, the lowest of mankind. And Narottama means the highest of mankind, the best of mankind. Puruṣottama means also the best of mankind. Who is that? The spiritual master. A devotee is the topmost position in human society. There's nobody topping the devotees. In fact, although the Supreme Lord is actually Puruṣottama, he considers that the devotees are even higher than him, Uttama, more Uttama than him. What is that? Madbhakta Puja Bhyadhika. That is the word. My devotees are more worshipable than me. Krishna worships the devotees. Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnur aradhanam param tasmat parataram devi tadhiyanam samarchanam. The worship of the devotees is even higher than Krishna. So if you take the word Puruṣottama to be the Supreme Lord or the best of mankind, who is the spiritual master, and in this mankind is divided into 4 varnas and 4 ashramas. And Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and there are of course the Antyajas. Antyaja means the end of mankind, the lowest of mankind. They are below Shudras, who are, Chandalas, Mlechas, Yavanas. So even them, so they are outside of the sanctioned action system. So Varnashram is where people follow the Vedic principles and they act according to that for gradual elevation. So Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas. And even among sannyas there are 4 divisions, Kutichaka, Bahudaka or Madhukari, and then there is Parivrajakacharya and Paramahamsa. So the Paramahamsa stage is where the spiritual master is. So you see, even in the Varnashram system, the Shudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya, Brahmana, and in Brahmana especially they have all the 4 stages. In the Brahmanas also there are many sections. There are many different types of Brahmanas. Some are doing Karma Kanda, some are Jnana Kanda, some are Bhakti. Bhakti are very rare. And even among them, and when we say this Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra and all this, all by qualification, not by birth. Okay? And even among the Brahmana there are Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas. And even among Sannyas, which is the highest among all, there are 4, which is, this Kutichaka, Bahudaka, Parivrajakacharya, Paramahamsa. And that Paramahamsa stage, that is the Narottam, Puruṣottam, among human society. That person is the spiritual master, the first class, topmost, Bhagavatottama. That is another word of a pure devotee, of a first class person. Bhagavatottama, Uttama Adhikari, or Puruṣottama or Narottama. So that is the spiritual master. So we have to ask the spiritual master who is coming in this authorized disciplic succession, or the Supreme Lord himself, who is the original Puruṣottama, Adi Purusham, Govindam. So we have to ask that person. So then we will have the perfect answers. But if I am going to ask these questions to a Naradhama, Purushadhama, all these so-called professors in the universities, what are they teaching? They are not teaching about how to become God conscious. They are Naradhama category, Maya Pahrita Jnana. And from them we are receiving this knowledge. Whatever questions we are asking from these. So that's why this education system is failing, is of complete failure. It is not actually enlightening us. It is making us slaves to these people, money hungry people. That's all it is making us. It is not giving us knowledge. And if you ask any question there, you will never have answers. They may be known in this world as big scientists, big philosophers or politicians or, all the academicians or whatever it is. But they're all Naradham according to the calculation of Bhagavad-gītā. So such persons cannot know the answers. And inquiring from such persons is useless. Athato Brahma Jignasa. We have to have Brahma Jignasa, but we have to ask the right person also the Brahma Jignasa. And we have to ask in the right mood as well. You see here, please explain this to me. Pariprashnena. Pariprashna means submissive inquiry, in a mood to learn, and we have to ask the right person, and then perfect. That's when we will have all the answers to everything that we ever wanted or need to know. Okay? So adhibhūtaṁ, so adhidaivaṁ. So there is some higher power. Even if I do not know exactly who's the higher power, at least if I acknowledge the fact that there is a higher power, then that is the beginning of our exploration of who is the higher power and how he is actually expressing his power, how he is manifesting his power and ruling everything. So, and is it even a singular person, or is it a multitude, or a board of directors for the whole universe, or is it a combination of both? Because like the demigods are like the directors, but then they are ultimately under the order of Krishna. So what is that whole hierarchy of management? So that we have to acknowledge there is a management. Otherwise, as Dimitri Prabhu has said, everything is too systematic. That means there is a system. The word systematic means there is a system. And system doesn't come from chaos. It's not that everything just exploded and as chaotic and then system came. No. It takes a conscious effort to put in a system. And when there is no conscious effort, that's when it will default into chaos. For example, even your room, if you want to tidy the room, you have to put a conscious effort, then there will be a system. Okay, there will be categorization, and then you will put things in order. And if you just leave it, that's the recipe for chaos. So when there is no intervention of a person, it usually results in chaos. But when there is intervention, then there will be a system. Of course, there are people who are chaotic also, and they make even a nice systematic thing into a chaos. So they are empowered by the tamogun, which results in destruction. So that also basically why everything defaults into chaos or a destructive thing, because this material world is tamoguna. It is a abode of tama. And that's why everything defaults to chaos, because the mode of passion and ignorance, everything gravitates towards that. But material, so actually, to be very honest, even whether it's creation or whether it's maintenance or whether it's destruction, you still need a personal intervention. Even for destruction, even for everything to go out of order, seemingly out of order. It's actually not out of order, it's just destruction of a system. So that also requires personal intervention. Without personal intervention, nothing will ever move. Everything will be just suspended in time. Just nothing. There won't be even chaos. Actually, there is no such thing as a chaos. Chaos is when it is beyond our control. But for the Lord, there is no such thing as chaos, because there is nothing beyond His control. Everything is within His control. Mayādhyakṣena prakritihi sūyate sacharacharam. Chara acharam. What that is not moving and whatever is moving, everything is within my control, Krishna is saying. So for Him, there is no chaos. Chaos means when I cannot control anything. When it's beyond, out of my control. That's when we call chaos. But for Krishna, there is no such thing as out of His control. Mayādhyakṣena, adhyakṣena. Everything is within His control. So actually, in the ultimate sense, there is no such thing as chaos. There is no such thing as an accident. So, if there is a system, and if everything is systematic, that means there is a system. Who set up that system? It doesn't come from thin air. Systems don't appear out of thin air. At least in our experience, we can see that. So similarly, there are bigger systems, there are smaller systems which we can understand, maybe to an extent. Digestive system, skeletal system, or in atmospheric, the planetary system, atmosphere, or underwater systems, or there are systems for everything. I can just give anything. Electrical system, and even plants, the ecosystem. This is an ecosystem. So there are systems for everything. Okay, and they're all interacting with each other. All these systems are interacting with each other and creating these huge, bigger systems. So we can wrap our head around some of the aspects of some of the systems that we observe. That's why we have some names: ecosystem, this system, that system. But adhibhūtaṁ, when it is said adhibhūtaṁ, it is referring to the sum total of all material systems, material manifestation. And adhidaivaṁ means what is the system of management of this whole material manifestation. It is referring to a system which we can't wrap our head around with our ordinary brain. The demigods, we cannot understand these things. We can't understand that other planets have life. Adhidaivaṁ. So there is a system of management. So every system has subsystems, and every system serves another superior system. Now this whole material, manifestation, or the universe, for example, let's say there are material manifestation. Material world means there are millions of universes, but just take this one universe. That's a system of its own. It's a system of Ishavasam, what is it? Purnam Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. So this Purnam, what are these? These are units, systems. Every system is complete in itself, and this complete system is interacting with another complete system, and they're creating another bigger system. You see? For example, a car. It has combustible, all the different systems. There are electrical systems within the car. There are, of course, the motor, the fuel and everything. There is a carburetor and everything. So many mechanisms going on within. So each is a system, and they're cooperating to become this huge car. And that machine, now that is one system. One car is one whole system. Okay. Now this system is interacting with other systems on the road, and that is causing traffic. And the roads are also part of the road network system of the whole country or the world. The road network system. And that road network system is one part of the whole construction industry. And the construction industry is another huge, not only roads, they construct buildings and everything. Then there is residential system, there is commercial, and the whole transport system. And that is serving the trade systems. And that is serving, bilateral and multilateral relation between countries, and how everything is. So there are bigger, higher systems that are in working. So there are small units which are ultimately serving in big systems. So what is beyond this planet? What are the governing forces beyond this planet? That we are not able to actually answer very nicely. And that is what adhidaivaṁ means. And even in this planet, for example, weather systems or climatic conditions, there are, of course, meteorological departments are there to kind of gauge that a storm is coming or a volcano may be erupting from here or something like that. They may do some kind of predictions. But who is controlling these things? They fail to understand this. They say, oh, this is just nature. And that's where they fall short. They stop questioning. They think, they assume that there is no one who is controlling this. This assumption, they say, because their thing is, unless you show me, I can't believe it. Like in criminal system, there are two types of ways of looking at a criminal or a suspect rather. Innocent until proven guilty, or guilty until proven innocent. There are two ways to look at it. So when you see that this person is a suspect, now should I punish him first? Should I punish him or should I wait for evidence? So, and before the evidence comes, some law is that he is guilty until proven innocent. Like in India, if a woman, the woman's charter law is like that. If a woman says that this man raped me, immediately he is put in jail first. Guilty until proven innocent. Now, it is upon the onus is on the man to prove that he is innocent. You see? Now, in this case, the woman can cheat, and she may tell a lie. And the man will be unnecessarily, punished. But the other way is innocent until proven guilty. Until we can absolutely confirm that this person is guilty of this crime, he is innocent. And there is also the con. A person who can maybe cover his tracks may run away if he did a crime. You see? So, but anyway, in the case of the Lord, everything is witnessed. There is no such thing as proven until guilty, innocent until proven guilty, or guilty until proven innocent. The Lord knows. He doesn't need to prove to anybody. He knows. He is the judge. He is the witness. Everything. He knows everything. So, but I'm saying this, that concept how we um, diagnose or research or inquire. So, if we see something in this universe, and should we say that you until proven that there is a creator of this, it is not, there is no creator. It just came out of Big Bang or whatever it is. Or accept that it is created by somebody until you can prove it that it is not created by somebody, and unless you can prove it that there is no person behind it. Should we accept that it was created by a person until you can prove it otherwise? Or it is not created by a person until you can prove that it is created by a person? So the scientists, unfortunately, they take the second route. They say, oh, unless you show me the creator, and unless the creator comes and gives a what is it called, um, event, when Apple, they announce, okay, this is a new iPhone, this is a new iMac, this is a new iPad. What do you call that, those events, those product release events, so like that, oh, God must come and have a product release event and then explain, okay, this is the material world, this is the spiritual world, this is the heavenly planet, this is hellish planets, and then you will believe. And or we, instead of being too proud that we can actually see God with our present um, atheistic mentality, we become submissive and say, just observe things, and then, yeah, everything seems to have a system, so there must be a creator. How can there not be a creator? Instead of the question being, how can there be a creator? Show me. Where is the creator? How can there not be a creator? That means the premise is there is a creator. So we're accepting that the creator is there unless you can prove it otherwise. Prove to me that there is no creator. And that's where we come from. Of course, we don't care whether they cannot prove it. They cannot prove it. We're going to always win the argument. They say, oh, prove the creator. Where is the creator? The creator is, where you observe what you can observe, and then see, can it happen without a system? Can it happen without a governance? You may not see the governor, but can you see the things that you're already seeing? You can. So can you explain these things? Can these things happen without a governor? So then if we start from there, then there will be thinking into it. But if we directly deny it outright, that there is no governor, there is no government above what we can see, and that is stupidity. It's like the dogs. They are fighting with each other or whatever. They don't know that there is a government in the country. Humans, there is a human species who's governing. They don't understand these things. They don't understand. So they are in their own world. They are oblivious to the higher arrangements. So similarly, if we also close our eyes, close our minds to this higher arrangement, then we are idiots. So modern society is actually a combination of idiots. So here Arjuna is asking adhidaivaṁ. What is this system that is governing the rest of the material manifestation? And we have explained a little bit about adhibhūtaṁ, adhidaivaṁ, and adhyātmaṁ in our previous session. So adhibhūtaṁ, these 5 elements we have explained that there are also demigods who are governing these 5 elements and different combinations of these elements. There are demigods. See, the 5 elements directly, there are, okay, like for example, Agni, Vayu, these fire, air, ether, everything, there is predominating deity and he is controlling the movements of it. But then air, uh, within the body, for example, there are 5 kinds of air, 5 kinds of main air, or movements of the air: prana, pana, vyano, dana, samana. So prana, pana, vyano, dana, samana is different kinds of movements of the air, and there are I think 9 types of less important air movement within the body. I think 9, or I don't know, 16. I think it's mentioned in one of the purports of Bhagavatam. I think it's third canto or something. So I used to remember the number of that verse, where different kinds of airs the body has. If some of you can take that out, yeah, keynote, yeah, Apple keynote. Yeah, these are those speeches, presentations, product presentations. There is a verse. Can you take out that one? I think second canto or third canto. There is a verse where in the purport, the airs, the different kinds of airs within the body. The names of the airs and what they do. Forgot. Okay. Anyway, if some of you can take out, that'll be good. So, so all these things we have to understand. So these are perfect. Why Bhagavad-gītā is considered such a perfect book? Because it answers all these things, all these important questions. Human life, human mission is to actually inquire about these things, and therefore Bhagavatam says, Srimad Bhagavatam 5:5:5, Parabhavastavad yavan na jñāsata atma-tattvam yavat kriyāstavadidam manovai karmatmakam yena sharira bandha. As long as one does not inquire about the spiritual values of life, one is defeated and subjected to miseries arising from ignorance. Be it sinful or pious, karma has its resultant actions. If a person is engaged in any kind of karma, his mind is called karmatmaka, colored with fruitive activity. As long as the mind is impure, consciousness is unclear, and as long as one is absorbed in fruitive activity, he has to accept a material body. So if we don't inquire about the spiritual values and this Atma Tattvam, then we will remain defeated. And one more last thing, I really want to say this. See, these are inquiries, right? Different adhyātmaṁ, brahma, karma, adhibhūtaṁ, adhidaivaṁ, adhiyajñaḥ. But the last question is the most important question of all. What are they? What is that? Prayāṇa-kāle kathaṁ jñeyo niyatātmabhiḥ. Now, what Arjuna is asking here is not simply like, hey Krishna, hey, tell me what is adhibhūtaṁ, what is this adhidaivaṁ, and what is adhiyajñaḥ? Can you describe, can we have like a chit chat? That's not what he's asking. See, why I'm asking you these questions, Krishna? Because you said that at the time of death, and actually Krishna will come just few verses away from here, 8.2, right? Today we are discussing 8.1 and 2. 8.5 and 6 is where Krishna says, if you remember me at the time of death, you're coming back. No more rebirth and death for you. And if you, do not remember me and anything else, you are coming back here at the time of death. So it becomes very important why we have to remember, Krishna at the time of death. So I am going to die. Arjuna is acknowledging the fact. Now this is not some, leisurely discussion, question answer. Let's have some, debate or question answer. Let's talk about something, let's pass some time here. No. There is an important thing. I am going to die. And this battle is going to start. I may not even be witnessing the end of this battle. I may die within this battle. And at that time, how am I going to know you? How am I going to remember you? You are saying that by knowing adhibhūtaṁ, adhidaivaṁ, adhiyajñaḥ and all these things, then and knowing that you are the overlord of all these things, then I can know you perfectly, and then I can think of you at the time of death and make my life successful. Now, how to know these things? What are these things? And how to remember you at the time of death? So then now it becomes very, very important. Now it becomes urgent. Now it becomes necessary. Now it becomes a mandate. If we really want to perfect our lives, I have to know these questions. It's not like it's good to ask these questions. No. You have to. Otherwise, you're not even a human being. You are going to be a failure. You're going to be facing unlimited misery if you don't have answers to these questions. It's not like, it's good to know these questions. It's good to ask these questions. It's good to know the answers. It's not good to know. It's not just good to know. You have to know them. And human brain, Krishna has given us the intelligence to understand these things. When we were in animal bodies, we could not. Whereas this human brain is meant for that. That's the only reason why we have extra intelligence than the animals. Not to create iPhones, and it is to understand the answers to these exact questions that Arjuna posed here. There's no other reason why we have this extra intelligence. Not that, oh, our extra intelligence is to understand these things. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, yeah, we should, I think we should use our intelligence to. No. If you don't use your intelligence to understand these things, you're actually working against nature, working against the plan of God. Your intelligence, I can understand. Yeah, dog cannot understand, but I can understand. So I should actually question these things. I should. No. That was the only reason we were given this intelligence. There's no other reason. Our intelligence was not given to build factories and this big this thing. No. Our intelligence was only given to ask these questions and find out answers. So as long as we do not ask these questions, we are always in, uh, um, ignorance, like animals. So prayāṇa-kāle, again the word prayāṇa. Krishna also used the same word prayāṇa, and here also prayāṇa. Prayāṇa means actually journey. In any language, Indian language, prayāṇa means journey. So again, death, understanding very well. See, the words used here are very full of knowledge, full of meaning. It's not just at the end. Of course, Krishna used the word later on, anta-kāle. Anta means end. The end of this body. But Krishna himself used the word prayāṇa-kāle. And Arjuna also used, in 7:30 he used prayāṇa-kāle, and now Arjuna is using prayāṇa-kāle. That means there is a journey. I am going to go. Yeah, this body will end and I am going to go. There's a journey. So life after death is a natural thing in our language. It's not a big question of research whether there is life after death. We're not just talking about whether there is life after death. We are talking about the journey, how to take that journey, how to prepare for that journey. Prayāṇa-kāle. At the time of journey from here to the next life or next state of existence, whether in this material world or spiritual world, that state, that journey, we are actually not just questioning whether there is another place. No, we are already talking there is another place and we are going to journey there, and we are actually preparing for the journey. We are way, way ahead, many, many millions of steps ahead of these so-called scientists. And we know exactly, and Krishna is exactly telling us what are the steps to take. You want to have visa to the spiritual world? Here are the steps. Here is what you should know. Here is what you should qualify. Here is how you qualify. Now, okay, Rajikishore Prabhu and Dimitri Prabhu have come up with the verse. Yes, 369. I think it's very simple to remember. 369. 3 times 1, 2 and 3. Yes, so Rajikishore is sharing all this. So, 369. Here is where 10 kinds of air. Yeah. Oh wow! Look at this. This verse is also adhyātmaṁ adhidaivaṁ adhibhūtaṁ iti tridha virat prāṇo dashavidha ekadha hridayena cha. Again, the gigantic unit. Adhyātmaṁ adhidaivaṁ adhibhūtaṁ. See this verse, and then virat prāṇo dashavidha. Prāṇa dashavidha. So there's 10 kinds of air. Although air is one of the bhuta, one of the 5 elements, 5 gross elements, but then there are so many subdivisions in each of these. Now, here, so every time, there is, each of these are, subdivided like that. Okay, the movements of the body are first generated from the heart, and all the activities of the body are made possible by the senses, powered by the 10 kinds of air within the body. Just like a car. Why do we need fuel? Why do we need fuel? So there is movement, there is combustion, and with combustion what happens? It pushes, the piston is pushed, and that is the movement of air. It is a push. So with that movement of the air, and then there is turning of the the what is it called, the gear wheels, and then the wheels actually turn, and that's how the locomotion is made into existence. It's brought about. So you see, movement of airs. So similarly, our body also is powered by these airs, like piston, but it's not exactly the way. But there are different ways. Here, piston, and that way. But in our body, there are many different kinds of movements, and the air is fascinating how the body works and how the air actually moves. Um, because last year I had, it was suspected that I may have gallbladder stones. So I just made some research. As usual, I went to the universal guru of on the earth, Google and YouTube. They're the gurus. So although I'm condemning them, but so I went to there, and then there was this video of how digestive system works, and I was, what is that word? I forgot. Um, the way how food goes, how food moves within our esophagus, how our esophagus even looks like, and how the food is pushed down. So then I understood that previously my understanding was that if I eat something, and then after eating, if I, because we were taught, because as children we were like monkeys, and Rajikishore Prabhu knows this very well. We used to jump around like monkeys and do all kinds of things. We were super active. So after eating, I used to actually, even now I can, but so I used to walk on my hands upside down. I used to walk as a child, and we do a lot of things. We do peristalsis. That's the word, peristalsis. So this is the word I was looking for. So that movement, how the food moves, how the food is pushed to the next system, the next organ. So now, so when we were doing all these things as kids, so my mother used to say, "Hey, after eating, don't do this upside down thing. Everything will come out. You will vomit everything." Oh, okay. So it has stuck. Although it was not very logical or what, I did not question it. As kids, we usually accept when we were younger. So only when I knew, when I was doing this research because of these gallstones and how the liver and how the digestive system works and all that. Of course, okay. Good news is that I don't have the gallstones, not even one. Krishna. So anyway, so when I was researching these things, so these movements, so I was fascinated. Oh wow, esophagus! I thought esophagus was a pipe, like a straight pipe, and you put food in it drops inside the stomach. And if you put it upside down, everything will come out again. So then I understood. So there is this peristalsis, and if you really understand what peristalsis is, there is zero chance of for the food to come out from the mouth. So the esophagus, if even there is this peristalsis going on, so even if I am upside down and I drink water, sip water, it will not come out. It will go up into my stomach if I am upside down. That's how peristalsis is. So it will, I don't know how to explain. So it's like this, basically. What you do with your tube, what is this called? Toothpaste. You push it so that it will come out. So that's how it pushes. So it constricts on one place and it pushes to the next one, like that. And there is esophagus is not even like a pipe. So anyway, I'm digressing a lot, but prana, different kinds of air that exist within the body, and it's fascinating how these systems working so perfectly, flawlessly, without even our. Now we think this is my body. I don't even know what is going on inside. I had to look at a YouTube video of some doctor who has dissected some dead body and showing me the parts of how the each body is interacting with the next. I had to see that preserved dead body, and he was actually showing all the parts and everything, and that's how I got to know. I don't even know how it's working, but if there is such a perfect system, who created this? So anyway, let's look at this. The movements of the body are first generated from the heart, and all activities of the body are made possible by the senses, powered by the 10 kinds of air within the body. The 10 kinds of air are described as follows. The main air passing through the nose in breathing is called prana. The air which passes through the rectum as evacuated bodily air is called apana. The air which adjusts the foodstuff within the stomach and which sometimes sounds as belching is called samana. The air which passes through the throat and the stoppage of which constitutes suffocation is called the udana air. aid the total air? No, and the total air, which circulates throughout the entire body, is called the Vyana. And let me tell you something. When I was so-called initiated, when I was 10 years old, I was initiated by the Smartha process. I became a so-called Brahmana, and I was given this sacred thread. It was not very sacred, it was a thread. So I was given this thread, and I was asked to chant this Gayatri Mantra. Unbonafide system. It has to be coming from a bona fide spiritual master. Okay. This Smartha thing, no bona fide spiritual master, just father, son, like that. And I mean, nobody's enlightened. And so actually, Upanayanam, they say Upanayanam. Oh, Upanayanam, in Telugu, we say Upanayanam cheskunnavara, very good. That means what? Have you undergone Upanayanam? Oh, very good, very good, very good. But I don't even know what Upanayanam means. I went through Upanayanam. Everybody's asking Upanayanam, oh, very good, you have done Upanayanam at 10 years old, such a young boy, good, good, good. They don't even know what the meaning of Upanayanam is. Nor was I told. I did not know. I went through the whole thing. And when you're a student, Upanayanam means now you're officially a student of a guru. You have a guru. And now you have to menially serve the guru. You have to beg alms, bhiksham dehe, bhiksham dehe. And I actually went with my cloth, with my uttariyam, with my, up this cloth. And I held it like this. And bhiksham dehe, I actually begged from all the relatives. And they gave me, many things, money and rice and some auntie, my auntie gave a chess game also because I like chess games, so she donated me. She in fact asked me the day before, what do you like? I said, I like chess. Okay, I'll buy you a chessboard. Then she bought a magnetic chessboard, small one. So she put that also inside. So, Bhiksham Devi. So what happens to this collected money for Guru? It is supposed to be, what is that? Brahmachari Gurukule Vasandanto Guror Hitam. He has to live only for the sake of Guru. Whatever he collects, only he has to give everything to the Guru. Sarvalabdharpanena cha. He has to offer everything to the Sarvalabdha Arpanena cha. He has to give everything to the Guru. So I got collection. Where it went? After the ceremony finished, counted how much. I think around 4,000 rupees I got. Okay. So, and then chessboard, one game also I got. So where does this money go now? Guru, right? Who's the Guru? I am the Guru. I think that money was put in a bank account of mine that my parents, opened, and in that bank account, it was for my future, it seems, for my education or future, whatever. It's still there. I did not take it, and now I am not eligible. So anyway, and I got the chess also. I was very happy, and some of the money was used for shopping. Next, after Upanayanam, today Upanayanam, next day, went to mall, and my father said, what is your best favorite game? So I was looking through them. Okay, I bought some games, and that was my Upanayanam. Now what is the meaning of Upanayanam? To go near. Upanayanam means to go near. That means now I am far away from God, go near God. How? To go, first of all, approach. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Just try to learn the truth by approaching the spiritual master. Approaching. This approaching is called Upanayanam. Now what is this approaching? Going near. No. I can be beside the home of my spiritual, of a guru, and I don't care. That is not going near, not physical proximity. But to go and understand submissively, to go and surrender. And Upanayanam means now I am a disciple, I am going to follow. Acharan dasavan nicha. I am a menial servant of the Guru. And I learn from the Guru what is the signs of life and aim of life and everything. All the techniques to how to achieve it. So that is the Guru. That is called Upanayanam. And I was, initiated, so called. And once you're initiated, before and after every meal, you have to do something called, there is a ritual, Aupasanam. So, Upasana. So, Upasana means actually to worship. So, there is a worship process before and after eating. So, we have to do, sprinkle water around the plate, we have to eat either on a metal plate or on a leaf like that, not any other. And we have to do this Aupasana with water, we have to do Aupasana, and we have to chant mantras. There I used to chant pranopana vyanodana samana. You know, um, and even before starting, Om pranaya swaha, Om vyanaya swaha, Om apana, Om pranaya swaha, Om apanaya swaha, Om vyanaya swaha, Om udanaya swaha, Om samanaya swaha. Then I used to say all these things in the upasana system, in the ritual. So this pranapana vyanodana samana, I knew these words before. I had zero understanding of what it was. That is the so-called state of so-called Brahmins nowadays. I did not know that it was referring to the 5 kinds of air within the body and the digestive and the whole body system. Whatever food I'm taking, let it keep the body in order like that. So that's kind of what it was, and keep it nicely for what? What is the purpose of keeping this body nice? That was not. I think it was there. Maybe I don't know what those. I don't remember some of those mantras. So maybe it was all communicated there, but I had zero idea. I was doing sandhya and I did not know anything. But you see how much meaningful it is if you really know the science of it. It is so scientific. But we were made to say, oh, these are all rituals, no meaning, nothing. You see how meaningful they are. So now, circulating through the entire body is called Vyana air. You see, Rajagishwar, you are a lapsed Smarta Gayatri Upasak. Don't forget the title. Yeah, the other day, the AMAM session, who was that? Om Namo Narayana. Somebody said, it's lapsed Smarta Gayatri Upasak. Yeah, that's a badge of honor I wear now. I'm a lapsed Smarta. That's a good title to have. Instead of being known as a Smarta, I'm a lapsed Smarta. Okay, so subtle than these 5 airs, there are others also. So this I did not know. I did not know these things. But that which facilitates the opening of the eyes, mouth, etc. is called Naga air. The air which increases appetite is called Krikara air. It's a nice sounding air because when your stomach growls, Krikara, I think that sound. I think that name matches the sound of the sound of the hungry, growling stomach. Krikara air. The air with which helps contraction is called Kurma air. So I think when they do this with muscles and all, I think it contracts the muscle. I think there is Kurma air. The air which helps relaxation by opening the mouth wide and yawning is called Devadatta air. And the air which helps sustenance is called Dhananjaya air. Now I am sure there must be a reason why these are named like this also. So I do not know again. We still need to know more actually why it is called Naga air or Kurma air. Why snake? Why tortoise? Maybe there is a characteristic of a tortoise. Tortoise can contract its limbs, right? And expand. The air of contract. Maybe I'm just speculating here totally. But Kurma, chicken. And Naga, the movement of the air, the snake. Maybe it's named after that. There must be more reason to this, which is not maybe more explained in this purport right away. But if we see why these names are like that, Naga, Kurma, snake, tortoise, and what is Devadatta, I don't even know. Devadatta means given by God, God given. Devadatta means God given. Dattam means to give away in charity. Datta, Danam. So, Devadatta means given by God. So, God given maybe. I don't know why it is called Devadatta, God given air, in yawning. So, and the air which helps sustenance is called Dhananjaya, winner of wealth. Anyway, so there must be reasons to all these things. So, Udana and even these words, Samana, and all these Prana, Pana, Vyanodana, Samana, all these might be having meanings. So, look at this, how much detailed the knowledge is, just how detailed the knowledge is. So, the questions that Arjuna asked, and the answers to these can be unlimited. You can talk forever and still not complete. There's that much. But the gist of everything, what is absolutely necessary for us to know, so that prayāṇa-kāle, kathaṁ jñeyo niyatātmabhiḥ. That is the main thing. It is not that we go in endless rabbit holes in each of these things and research on one thing and then go on and then forget the whole. Why I am actually researching all this? So, I have to actually remember the Supreme Lord at the time of death. I forgot that and I am researching into air and what is it. Next life I will become one Fly, house fly. You can fly in the air. So, so I have to know prayāṇa-kāle. There is an urgency now. There is a necessity of knowing these things, and there is an urgency. Prayāṇa-kāle. I don't have time is finite in this body for me, and I can get answers to these questions only before the prayāṇa-kāle happens. I don't have infinite time to know the answers to these questions, and also I need to know all these knowledge the answers to these questions should serve a purpose. And what is that? They should make me conscious of you, Krishna. And how can I be conscious of you? And why should I be conscious of you? So Krishna, of course, tells later. But if you're conscious of me, you are coming back to me, to my abode, or otherwise you're going to be here, suffering in this world. So the answers to this question is going to be literally the future of my life, my existence. It's going to determine my entire future for millions and trillions of years. Just the answers to these questions. So how important they are. And I have to know it within a certain time, before my death. And not just know, I should be acting on those things. Adhiyajñaḥ. Because these adhyātmaṁ, adhyātmaṁ, I should know myself. Adhibhūtaṁ, adhidaivaṁ, how these things are, everything is managed. All that is fine. It all has to come to this point of adhiyajñaḥ. My activities should be in sacrifice, and those things, at the end of the life, if I have to remember you, I have to practice my whole life remembering you. So for that, I have to be, first of all, convinced that you are the actual, substance of everything. And then I have to be firmly convinced, and I have to be engaging in your service. So I have to know this knowledge way before the prayāṇa-kāle comes, so that I can know it, and I can act on it, and I can practice on it, and I can become fully conscious and completely engrossed in such thought and action, and which will ultimately fuel my thought at the time of death. And if I can remember you at that point, perfection. Yes, exactly what I was saying. Dimitri Prabhu. Just like Parikshit Maharaj asked these two questions, what should one do when he is about to die, and what is the perfection of life? So if you go to Srimad Bhagavatam, and he had 7 days, finite. Now Arjuna did not know whether he had 1 day left, whether he was going to die on the first day of the battle, whether on the 7th day or the 18th day, or whether he was going to live beyond this battle of Kurukshetra. He was not even sure how long he was going to live. Like his son, he died, and I don't know which day was that. I think maybe 9th or 10th day, I don't know who was it. So, you see, so he did not know how many days he had, Arjuna. Whereas Parikshit Maharaj knew exactly he had 7 days. So, he was asking this question. So, both were on the verge of death. Actually, every one of us always are on the verge of death. Padam padam yad vipadam natesham. 1937, I think. Is it? No. 119, sorry. 119, 35 or what? 37. You see, I am therefore begging you to show the way of perfection for all persons, especially for one who is about to die. See? So it is very important to ask this kind of questions. Otherwise, parabhavastavad abodhajato yavanna jñāsata atmatattvam. Our human life will be a defeat if you don't ask these questions. So, he's asking the perfect person that we have explained. And Brahman means Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. Everything is Brahman, but there are divisions also, subdivisions. And Bhagavan is the ultimate understanding of Brahman. So here, who is the Lord of Sacrifice? Adhiyajñaḥ, whether it's Indra or you. So in Govardhan Leela we get to understand who is the actual king. King Khatwanga is another example who knew his date of death. Yeah. And he had only a moment, and he came down to earth. Heavenly moment, so it is some time on earth. So he came down and became perfect and went back to Godhead. So this is very important, and we don't even know how much we have. But anyway, we know one thing: death is sure. We only don't know when it's going to happen. That's all. One thing is sure: our time in this life is diminishing with every passing second. So, and doubt. Madhusūdana. Every word is so meaningful here. Puruṣottama, Madhusūdana. He's addressing Lord these names, and they're so perfect. Puruṣottama, he's unlimited knowledge. And even a spiritual master can be called in that sense, Puruṣottama or Narottama. Whereas the opposite is Naradhama, Puruṣādhama. Now, Madhusūdana here. Again, Madhu was a demon. And Krishna killed the demon. So he is now asking, I want all doubts to be killed. And doubts are killed with knowledge. Darkness is killed with light. So, with knowledge, with enlightenment, you see, the light, darkness. So, knowledge and enlightenment are used synonymously. So, similarly, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma mritam gamaya. So, asato ma sadgamaya. So, this is the Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So, this is the Vedic mantra. Asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritam gamaya, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Fun fact, in our school in India, in the morning assembly, we used to chant this verse. And Bhagavatam 12:13:1, Yam Brahma Rudra Marutas Divya Istavar, that verse we used to chant. Om Purnamada Purnamidam we used to chant. Meaning, none of them are known. None of them. This is how, just to namesake, chanting without any understanding. So, asatoma sadgamaya means what? Don't remain in the asat, this illusory world. Come to the, or don't remain in the temporary existence. Come to the sadgamaya. Become eternal. Come to the eternal world. Asatoma sadgamaya. Tamasoma jyotirgamaya. Tamasoma means don't remain in darkness, come to the light. Oh, okay. Let me switch on the light in the room. Now that's not the meaning. Come out of the darkness of ignorance. Om ajnana timirandhasya jnananjana salakya chakshurun militam yena tasmai sri gurave namaha. That means surrender to a guru. Surrender to a bona fide spiritual master. That is what it means. Ādau gurvāshrayam saddharma prichha. That is Vedic injunction. What is that? Īśāvāsamidam sarvam. Yes. Whereas Vishwar was saying Īśāvāsamidam sarvam. We used to chant all these verses in the morning assembly, in the school. We did not know any meaning. So these are the things. So asatoma sadgamaya, tamasoma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritam gamaya. Don't remain in the cycle of birth and death. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jathare shayanam, iha samsare bahudustare kripaya pare pahi murare. Shankaracharya, beautiful verse. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jathare shayanam. So, again birth, again death, again sleeping in the womb of the mother again. Iha samsare bahudustare. In this world, this samsara is very difficult to overcome. Kripaya pare. Oh unlimited, merciful one. Pahi murare. Pahi means save me. Murare. You are the unlimited merciful one. Please save me from this. Only you can do it. Dustare. Iha samsare bahudustare. Not dustare. Bahudustare. Extremely difficult, impossible. Impossible to overcome. But the word impossible is not used. Why? Because there is one way it is possible. By surrendering to the Lord. Like in the Daivi Hesha Gunamaya Mamamaya Duratyaya. It is not said Anatyaya or what is that? You cannot surmount. No, it is very difficult to overcome. It is not impossible to overcome. Because there is one way to overcome. You surrender to me, Krishna says, you can overcome. So here samsare bahudustare. Very, very difficult to overcome. But it's not impossible. But if you don't try this one way, yes, it is impossible. What is that one way? Kripaya pare pahi murare. Just surrender to Krishna and Krishna will save. So, Madhusūdana here is addressed as Madhusūdana. So just as he killed the demon Madhu, so please kill the demon of my doubts. Because what is the problem? What is the problem? Well, this is the problem. Agnyascha samshayatma vinashyati. Nayam lokosti naparo nasukham samshayatmanah. Samshayatma means the doubtful soul. But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness. They fall down. For the doubting soul, there is a happiness neither in this world nor in the next. He can never be happy. In this world, he won't be happy because he's full of doubts. He doesn't have answers to anything. And next life, he will not be happy because prayāṇa-kāle. If I know the answers to the questions that Arjuna put, then I know how to conduct myself in the prayāṇa-kāle, because that is the most difficult time. That is the exam time. Just like exam is actually a prayāṇa. Why? Because depending on my performance in the exam, so say for example, in India 10th class, or in other countries it's a secondary school, or college or whatever. So according to my exam, according to my performance in the exam, my future will be. If it's very good flying colors, then I can go to this university. Then if I pass with flying colors even from that university, I can get this job. I can work in this company, or I can become this government servant, or bureaucrat, or whatever it is, doctor. So where my life will take me depends on these exams, these moments in time where everything is tested. And death is like that. So every exam is actually a prayāṇa, is actually a journey. So death is also a journey, because from that, our performance there will determine our journey. So we have to pass it by all means. Human life is meant only for that purpose, to pass that test of death. And Krishna tells what is passing, what is failing in 8, 5 and 6. If you remember me at the time of death, you pass. If you don't remember me, you fail. And you repeat, you take that form of existence which you are remembering at the time of death. So if I remember a dog at the time of death, I will become a dog. So in this way, pass and fail is defined. You see, now we know. Oh wow! And so how to remember Krishna at the time of death? Therefore, tasmat, Krishna says. Therefore, okay, let us see 5 and 6 first. Oh, what am I doing? 8, 5. Okay. Antakāle ca māmeva smaran muktva kalevaram yah prayāti samadbhāvam yāti nāstyatra samshayah. Prayāti, again, prayāṇa, prayāti, goes. Antakāle, although it is said at the end of life, but then prayāti, goes. So it's not the end. It's the end of the body only. So, and whoever at the end of his life quits his body, remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. Next. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tam eva iti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. But something is lost in the translation here. Sada tad bhava bhavitaha. Sada means always. Always remembering that. So, whatever I am always remembering throughout my life, I am going to remember that at the Tyajatyante Kalevaram. So his Antakala is Anta for Kalevara. Kalevara means body. His Antakala is not our Anta, or our finish, our end. Anta of the body only. Kalevaram. Tyajatyante Kalevaram. At the end of this body. Whatever I remember, it depends on Sada Tad Bhava Bhavita. Tam tam evaiti kaunteya. That I will get. And that depends on Sada Tad Bhava. What is my bhava throughout my life? What am I remembering? What is my feeling? How much I am invested in emotionally, or my thought process. That will determine that state he will attain without fail. Of course, sada tad bhava bhavita. Always that will be the next state of existence. Whatever you remember, that will be the. Always that is the case. So that is also the meaning. And how are we going to remember at the time of death? So sada tad bhava bhavita. Always what we do, that will determine. That's why Krishna says, tasmat, therefore, sarveshu kāleshu māṁ anusmara yuddhya ca mayyarpita mano buddhir māme vaishyasya samshaya. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna, and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. And then abhyasa, practice. Abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasa na anyagamina paramam puruṣam divyam yati parthanuchintayan. He who meditates on me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Partha, is sure to reach me. So the word is here practice, abhyas. Abhyasa means practice. So you have to practice remembering him all the time. So how to remember him all the time? I'm saying this, I'm saying that, I'm saying that, I'm understanding this, I'm thinking of this. So therefore, because I'm seeing many things, I'm hearing many things, I'm thinking many things, all those thoughts, all those perceptions of the senses, everything should point ultimately to Krishna. That's why I have to understand when I'm seeing something, the governing principle of that, I have to make those unseen connections with Krishna. I'm unable to see that, but with knowledge, adhibhūtaṁ, adhidaivaṁ, adhiyajñaḥ, what is that? Adhyātmaṁ. So I can understand how these things are connected back to Krishna. So all my perceptions of whatever that is manifested in this world will eventually lead me to the thought of Krishna. And that's how I will practice abhyasa in every step of my life. Every situation, everything that exists should point me to Krishna. Good and the bad. The good and the bad. Not that only good things point me to Krishna, bad things point me to somewhere else. No. Everything should point me back to Krishna. Oh, somebody showed a bad example of how to behave. Fine. So that's where I learned how not to behave. If I really want to go to Krishna. Oh, Krishna said in Bhagavad-gītā, this is dambha, ahankar, this, that. Oh, this is the manifestation of that. This is how a person becomes if he's infatuated with pride and vanity and, hubris. So, no, I should not be like that. So that will take me to hell. Oh, this is what Krishna said. So it is pointing me to again Bhagavad-gītā. So everything. So all these verses, why I many times told this. Why shlokas are important? Because they are the connections between our experience and our remembrance of Krishna. They are the link. Because these verses link. Otherwise, we are just experiencing everything with our senses, and we are taking it. If we take them at face value, without understanding the background, then we are not seeing Krishna. But if these shlokas are there, words of Krishna, how he is connected with everything. So every aspect will connect me to Krishna. Every aspect, everything that I experience will connect me to Krishna. And that's why adhyātmaṁ, adhibhūtaṁ, adhidaivaṁ, adhiyajñaḥ, these things I have to know. And then I can not only it will bring me to the thought of Krishna, but also my plan of action, what I should do, adhiyajñaḥ. So what I should do so that it will be an act of sacrifice for God, for Krishna, given my current situation. So what are the examples? What is the example of a devotee who was in this situation, who, became successful, although it is a challenging situation. So it is too easy. Sometimes too easy times, when the times are too easy and everything is like going good, that is itself a challenge. Because when everything is going good, we forget Krishna. Demigods are saying, we have come to this heavenly planets, we are forgetting, we hardly remember Krishna at all. They are saying, because we are too much in comfort. So that itself is a challenge. To remember Krishna in the presence of comfort is a challenge. So we are actually never out of challenges. When times are difficult, those are challenges. But when times are easy, that's even a bigger challenge. It's harder to remember Krishna in those times than in the times of challenge. So, in other words, every time is a time of challenge. And the easy times are a bigger challenge than the tough times. So you just look at that. So I must practice every single step of the way to remember Krishna. So that at the time of death, which is the ultimate challenge, at that time, I must pass. So for that abhyas, therefore Krishna is saying, you have to know these things. Because otherwise you will think that, why should I know? I can just remember Krishna, okay, the form of Krishna, at the time of death. But how are you going to remember them? Because you are distracted by so many things. Unless you see all those things in connection with Krishna, you will not see the unity in the diversity of your experience. The unity in the diversity of our experience is actually Krishna. So because Krishna said, what is that? Aham sarvasya prabhava. Everything emanates from me. All the multitude of variety that we see emanates from him, the singular source, the unifying source of everything. So, but we are not seeing that from this perspective that everything is coming from him. We are seeing from the other end. We are seeing all the multitude of variety, but we are not seeing him. So to connect to him, these verses, this knowledge, will help us to see Krishna in everything. That's why it is said स्थावर जंगम देखे ना देखे तार मूर्ति, सर्वत्र होय निज इष्ट देव स्फूर्ति. स्थावर जंगम देखे na dekhe tar murti, sarvatra hoy nij ishtadeva spurti. The Mahabhagavad, the advanced devotees, certainly sees everything mobile and immobile, but he does not exactly see their form. Rather, everywhere he immediately sees manifest the form of the Supreme Lord. Because everything immediately connects with Krishna. And in the beginning, it is just intellectual connection with shlokas and everything. That is called Shrutekshita. Shrutekshita means to see through hearing. Ikshita means to see. Shruta means to hear. Shrutekshita means seeing by hearing. So, but eventually, he will actually premanjana churita. Once he reaches the stage of prema, which is the ultimate stage in advancement, the love of Godhead, then bhakti vilochanena santa sadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti. He will actually see. In the beginning, it's shrutekshita. In the ultimate sense, it will be bhakti vilochana. He will vilokayanti. They will actually Shamam Tribhangalalitam Niyata Prakasham, eternally manifest the form of the Lord. So Shrutekshita is mentioned here in Srimad Bhagavatam 3.9.11. I actually forgot this verse. I memorized this verse before. I think Ya'ate something. What was it? 3.9.11. Yeah, 3.9.11. Tvam bhakti yoga paribhavita hrit-saroja asse shrutekshita patho nanunatha pumsam yadyadhyāta urugāya vibhāvayanti tad vapuh pranayase sadanugrahāya. So second two lines are mentioning another thing, two lines, first two lines another thing. Of course they are both connected, but second two lines are not relevant to our subject and discussion, but anyway, we'll read. O my Lord, your devotees can see you through the ears by the process of bona fide hearing. Your devotees can see you through the ears by the process of bona fide hearing. This is called Shrutekshita. And thus their hearts become cleansed, and you take your seat there. You are so merciful to your devotees that you manifest yourself in the particular eternal form of transcendence in which they always think of you. So, we see through the ears, Shrutekshita, bona fide hearing. Bona fide hearing is through the Shastras, through the spiritual master. And when we always recollect the teachings heard from the Shruta, hearing is one thing, but it can go in and come out from here without any processing in between. So, it just comes with zero latency. Here come in, here go out without any processing in between. That is not good. So Shruta means we have to listen. And listen means there is involvement of contemplation. The exact words are here. Actually, in the Bhagavad-gītā also 4.39, but even more clearly in this 12, 13, 18. See, Srimad Bhagavatam Purāṇamamalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam Yasmin Paramahamsyamekamalam Jnanam Param Gīyate Tatra Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam Naishkarmyam Aviskritam. Aviskritam or Avishkritam? Avishkritam. Here it's Aviskritam. That is a mistake. Naishkarmyamaviskritam tachrinvan supathan vicharanaparo bhaktya vimuchyennara. This line. Okay, actually it's two lines. This is very nice. So, Srimad Bhagavatam Purāṇamamalam. The first two lines describe the glory of Bhagavatam, and the next two lines highlight how we should hear the Bhagavatam to receive the full benefit of Bhagavatam. So, Srimad Bhagavatam is a spotless Purana and it's dear to the Vaishnavas. Yasmin Paramahamsam Ekamamalam Jnanam Param Gīyate. So, it is the highest knowledge. that is enjoyed by Paramahamsas is there, spotless knowledge. Okay? Amalam, amalam, two times the word used, amalam, Puranam amalam and Paramahamsam ekam amalam jnanam param giyate. Now, how to receive Bhavatam? Tatra jnana viraga bhakti sahitam naishkarmyam avishkritam. You see, revealed. So, okay, actually, this is also still the potency of Bhavatam, like description. The last line is how we should actually receive. So in the Bhagavatam, what you find? Jnana viraga bhakti sahitam naishkarmyam avishkritam. What is revealed in the Bhagavatam? Jnana, viraga, knowledge, renunciation, and bhakti sahitam, along with bhakti. Naishkarmyam, the activities that we need to do, that will not produce any reactions in this world. That is naishkarmyam. That is bhakti. Avishkritam, that is revealed here. And let's see, Srimad Bhagavatam is a spotless Puran. It is most dear to the Vaishnavas because it describes pure and supreme knowledge of the Paramahamsas. This Bhagavatam reveals the means for becoming free from all material work, together with the processes of transcendental knowledge and renunciation and devotion. So, how we should receive? Anyone who seriously tries to understand Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, who properly hears and chants it with devotion, becomes completely liberated. Now, if you see the Sanskrit, Tat Shrinvan. Shrinvan means Shruta, Shrutekshita, hearing, Shrinvan. Supathan. Supathan means two things. Pathan means to study. Study. So the other day, AMAM, somebody was asking this question that, somebody told me that we should not just read Prabhupada's books, we should study his books. Which is right. But in the beginning, it starts with reading, but yes, we should actually study his books. We should deeply study the books. And that's supathan. And pathan means to study. Supathan means very, very nicely, very scrutinizingly study. But here, if you see the word supathan, properly chanting it is there. That means this chanting of shlokas is recollection of them. That is when we study. When we hear it once, we may forget it after some time. But when we hear it again and contemplate on it, that's why vicharana. Vicharana para means one who is serious about understanding. Vicharana means again contemplating. We should study repeatedly. Chanting properly means we should chant over and over again, practice. Means we should revisit that subject many, many times. It's not that one time I read Bhagavad-gītā, I finish. Supathan means to study repeatedly. We have to go over that subject again and again and chant it and remember it. So that not only when I open the book, but whenever I want, at will, I can summon that knowledge. Whatever I have learned, I can recollect. There are verses help. That's why I said verses are the best form of recollection, poetry. So if you want to remember something, make a verse about it, and in a rhyme you can remember. I have showed that Yashoda, how she poeticized all the pastimes of Krishna, and she was singing those songs while she was churning butter and yogurt and all these things. So that's how we should do it. So these shlokas help us in remembering all these things. Supathan vicharana paro bhaktya, and all this should be done with bhakti. That is the principal ingredient. Because many even jnani, so-called mayavadis, they also study and hear and study and contemplate. But they do it without bhakti. Therefore they won't get vimuchya. They won't get liberated. Vimukta maninas only. Vimukta manina. They think they are liberated, but they don't. The real vimuchya means he has to shrinvan, supathan, vicharana with bhakti. Bhaktya. Then yes. So that is how we should receive this knowledge. You see? So, Shrutekshita. So this is how we should, this is why we should have answers to these questions, and that's why these questions that Arjuna posed are the perfect questions. Perfect questions. Of course, they are a follow-up of what Krishna said in the previous chapter, but then he staged the he set the stage perfectly for Krishna to answer all these things. And that's why Krishna chose Arjuna to speak, because even if he, why he doesn't speak to an ordinary person? Because an intelligent man like Arjuna, he knows even what to ask. How to tell something to somebody who he is not in. This is the thing about preaching. When we are preaching to someone, when that person is actually not in an inquiring stage, he's not interested about the answers that you're giving or the knowledge that you're sharing. A person will be interested in something if he has questions about it, and if those answers satisfy his questioning, then he'll be interested in what you're saying. So most of the people are not interested. They don't have a question first. Athātu brahma jignāsa. First thing you have to do is having questions. And you have to approach this modified guru to get the right answers. Don't go to an idiot, upstart, nonsense scientist. Go to a guru. So that is the way of our perfection. But when we meet people on the street, they are not inquisitive. So preaching actually also means not just to give the answers, but to even make them question first. So that they actually find the necessity that, hey, yeah, I never thought about that. Thanks for making me question it. Thanks for putting that question in my mind. So we should make them feel like that. So make them even question. Have you thought about, life and all these things? Have you thought about how the universe came to existence? Whatever it is. So these things are the driving force which actually encourages or propels the person to actually be interested in the answers. So part of our preaching is not just to give the answers, but to even make them question first in the first place. And then, yes, give them. So that's why Prabhupada said preaching means to make them not only question, but also impress upon them the urgency that not only should you question these, should you have these questions, and which this book answers your question, but also there is an urgency in this matter, because prayāṇa-kāle, you're going to die, and before that you have to understand all these things. So we have to convince them of the urgency to this. That's what preaching is all about. And once that fire of inquiry is kindled in that person, then it can be fanned with this book. Then when he reads the book, wow, he gets really interested in all of this, and he becomes a devotee eventually. So that's what this is all about. And then Arjuna is asking the perfect question, so that Krishna has given the perfect answer, so that anybody in the future who has questions or who is propelled to question by the preaching of a devotee, he will have the answers in the Bhagavad-gītā. See that? So that's what I wanted to say. That's why this is the process of perfect inquiry. That's why I titled it like that. Perfect inquiry, not just because the questions are so nice, but he also put the questions to the right person in the right way. Submissive. So all this is the process of inquiry. Process of inquiry is not just to have a question. Have the right questions. Ask the right questions to the right person in the right attitude. Then that will be the beginning of our liberation. Pariprashna. This is pariprashna in action. Krishna said pariprashna seva. But this is how pariprashna is done in action. Arjuna has actually demonstrated what pariprashna looks like. That is the process of perfect inquiry. So I'd like to stop here. Any questions or comments? So I will take them. Now, there's a question that Dimitri Prabhu is answering of Vrinda Mataji. Will Krishna not help his devotees to remember him at the time of death? So Dimitri Prabhu has shared some morning walk things of Prabhupada, where he says devotee generally remembers Krishna, but even if he cannot, Krishna will help him, that is guaranteed. Don't think that at the time of death, because you are so completely out of consciousness, therefore there is frustration. No, there is no frustration. There is no frustration. So because your activities are already recorded by the Supreme Personality of Godhead who is situated within your heart, so therefore there is no question of frustration. You just practice. While you are in good health, while you are in good body, while you are in good consciousness, just practice this Hare Krishna and the result is guaranteed. So he shared with this from Bhagavatam lecture. That's very nice. So do you know that there is actually a verse for this? There is actually a verse for this. It's from the Varaha Puran. What is that verse? Yadi vātādi doshena yadi mam nachamam smaret aham smarami madbhakto nayami paramam gatihim. Nayami paramam gatim. That is the verse from Varaha Puran. Was it shared? Yes. Yadi vātādi doshena madbhakto mam nacha smaret aham smarami madbhakta nayami paramagatim. So this is the meaning. This is from Varaha Puran. If my devotee is unable to remember me at the time of death because of disturbances felt within the body at the time, then I shall remember my devotee and take him back to my supreme abode. Look at this. This is actually a verse in the Shastra. How merciful the Lord is. But for this, There is a qualification. Aham smarame. If you cannot remember, I will remember you. But Krishna always remembers us, even if we do not remember him. That's why he remembers everything that we ever did in our past, right? So, what is the big deal about, so what if he remembers? Aham smarami madbhakta. Madbhakta. This is a special facility only for my devotees. And who is the devotee? Who in his entire life? What is that? What is that? Famous verse, 1865. Come on. Manmana. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Namaskuru. Mame vaishyasi satyam te pratijane priyosi me. So, whoever does these things throughout his life. Ma manusmara, what is that? Ma manusmara. Manmana, always think of me, become my devotee, offer me your obeisances unto me, offer your homage unto me, and pay obeisances. Manmana bhava madbhakta, become my devotee, yes. And madhyaji, worship me and offer obeisances to me. So if we do this all our life, then we are a devotee. Devotee means one who devotes his life. He is a devotee. Employee is a person who is employed by this company. He is an employee of the person. Devotee means one who devotes his life. Now, how much of my life I devote, that much I am a devotee. And that much Krishna reciprocates. That's fair enough, right? Yeah, what is that? 411. Yadrishi Shraddha Siddhir Bhavati Tadrishi. That is from Brahma Samhita, 561. What is that? 411. See, I'm forgetting simple verses. Yeah, ye yathamam prapadyante tam tathaiva bhajamyaham. So if I am devoting only 1% of my life to Krishna, then 1% he will reciprocate. But if I always remember Krishna, 100% he will reciprocate. So yadi vatadi doshena madbhakto manachamam smaret, aham smarami madbhakto nayami paramagatim. I will remember him. It's like this verse in Isha Upanishad asking the Lord to remember whatever we have done for him. Yes. Yes. So that is there in the Isha Upanishad. But what if I can't remember? So that's why this Isha Upanishad, nice verse is there. Vayur anilam amritam athedam bhasmantam shariram om kratosmara kritam smara kratosmara kritam smara. Let this temporary body be burned to ashes and let the air of life be merged with the totality of air. Now, O my Lord, please remember all my sacrifices, and because you are the ultimate beneficiary, please remember all that I have done for you. Actually, the Lord doesn't need to be reminded, but it is a prayer of the Lord, please don't forsake me. Because at the last point, now I'm still able to remember you, but at that time, at that moment when I'm going to quit this body, I may still not be able to remember you. I may forget you. All my practice may go in vain. But Krishna, you don't please forget me. It's a beautiful prayer. So, Krishna actually will remember. And Krishna promises that. Abhayam sarvada tasmai. In fact, he says, what is that? Tavasmiti chayachate. Yeah, Sakrideva Prapanno, yes. What to speak of whole life? Krishna says, Ram says, Lord Ramachandra. Sakrit means only once. You see, once only. Sakrideva Prapanno, yes, Tavasmiti Chayachate, Abhayam Sarvada Tasmai, Dadamyetad Vratam Mama. It is my vow that if one only once surrenders seriously unto me, saying, My dear Lord, from this day I am yours, and prays to me for courage, I shall immediately award courage to that person and he will always remain safe from that time on. See? Yuddha Kanda 1833. Spoken by Lord Ramachandra, Ramayana. So, this is Krishna's assurance. Sadhavo hridayam mahyam, sadhunam hridayam tvaham. Yes, this is from Bhagavad-gītā. Yes, he will remember. So he's saying, Dimitri Prabhu is saying, people may want to go a shortcut by imitating Ajamil. Commit sins for the whole life and hoping to chant the holy name at the time of death because Krishna will help remember. But because Ajamil did something in his early life, Vishnu worship, that's why he could remember. Because of whatever bhakti he did in his early life. So if you want to imitate Ajamil, do something at least in bhakti. Do something at least. Then even if you go to sin, yeah, one day you will remember. Either in this life, next life, whatever. Remember. Krishna will help. Because that is the promise of Krishna. Even Swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Nehabhikramanashoste pratyavayo navidyate. So, that is a promise. But at least do something. Do something. How did he name his son as Narayan? Unless some piety he would have had, right? So, anyway. This is what I wanted to say. And any other questions? In the Avataranика Tika to the Govinda Bhashya, Brahma Sutra Bhashya of Sri Baladev Vidyabhushan, Bhalvaveya Shruti is quoted regarding this context, regarding the topics of Bhagavad-gītā. Wow, interesting. In the Avataranика Tika, so it's a commentary on a commentary. Govinda Bhashya is a commentary on Vedanta Sutra by Baladev Vidyabhushan. But Avataranика Tika is a tika or a commentary on Govinda Bhashya of Baladev. A Bhalvaveya Shruti is quoted regarding this context. So let's see the Sanskrit. Athaha vava nityani puruṣah prakritiratma kala iti. Atha yanyanityani prāṇah. See, I'm so slow. Shabda-bhūtāni bhautikāni iti. Yani hava utpattimanti tanya. Oh wow, it is so small also. Tanya nityani yani hava anutpattimanti tani nityani. And then next. Nehyotani kada notpadyante no viliyante puruṣah prakritiratma kala ityesha shrutihi. Ashrutihi. Heard. So, Bhalvaveya Shruti. Now those who are known to be eternals will be told as follows: Ishvara, Prakriti, Jivatma and Kala. These are all eternal. And one is not eternal, that is karma. These four are known as eternals. Those which are non-eternals are being said as follows: 10 types of air, faith, the 5 elements, water, fire, air, ether, earth, the product of these 5 elements like the body, the 5 senses. Yes, these are not eternal, and especially karma, which actually causes all these bodies, is also not eternal because it can be stopped. Also, the products of the combinations of the two atoms, Dvanu onwards, are all non-eternals. Thus, those which are not a product or created are called eternals. Those which are not a product. Product means, so those which are created, they will be destroyed. Those which are not created will not be destroyed. Ishvara, etc. are never created, thus they never undergo destruction. Yes, the 4 tattvas are Ishvara, Prakriti, Jiva and Kala. So karma is actually, so this is exactly not exactly the verse, but I want a verse which says the 5 topics of Upanishads are this. So that kind of verse. But this is pretty close. So thank you for that. So what else? Ishopanishad also covers all those 5 elements like BG. Ishvara, yes. Jiva, yes. Prakriti, yes. Kala, yes. Kala. Yeah, I mean, Kratosmara, Kratam Smara. Bhashma, Antam Shariram. Antam means at the end of Shariram. Whereas Kala is mentioned, I think maybe in the 8th. Saparyaga Sukram Abram Asnaviram Shuddham Apapaviddham. Kavir Manishi Kavi Paribhu Swayam Bhur Yatha Tathyato Shashwati. Yeah. Shashwati. Shashwati means for eternity, which is again a mention of time. But anyway, everything exists with time. Everything exists with conjunction of time. So, Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, yes. Kala, yes. Karma, yeah. Kratosmara, Kratam Smara. And yeah, all these are, yeah. Upanishad, Ishopanishad, yes, has all this. Some people acknowledge that there are higher forces and they just say, don't think about death, just live your life. That's because such inquiring hampers their sense gratification. Exactly. Because it's too scary. If there is life after death, yeah, there may be, but don't talk about it because it's too scary. Because if afterlife means then my actions now will determine my next life, then I have to be watchful of my actions, then I cannot enjoy everything. I think just turn a blind eye to that and then just enjoy life, because nobody really knows the answer to that question, because nobody has seen and come back to say, and yeah, this is how it works. But yeah, Krishna has seen and come back. Well, he's seeing everything and he's coming back to us to say. So Krishna did say. So there is answer. Okay. What else? Football cuts. Why are you so interested in football? First of all, Maya is playing football with you. Can you see that? You are the football. Maya is kicking you like one from one planet to another planet to another planet, and every time she is hitting the goal, you're trying to run away from there. You see? Prabhuji, what is your opinion about TV serials? Okay, question hasn't started. What is your opinion about TV serials made in India about Krishna and his pastimes? I think they show fake pastimes. Please reply, Hare Krishna. I have spoken many times about this. I absolutely condemn this. That's why I say, if you change one thing in Quran, you'll be beheaded. Not just beheaded. Beheaded. Whereas, if you tell anything about our own religion people, Sanatan Dharma, so-called Hindus, they talk everything against their own scriptures. Scriptures never said, but they invent. So how much of a blasphemy that is to the scriptures? That's why our Bhagavad-gītā is Bhagavad-gītā as it is. Everything Bhagavatam as it is. Everything ours is as it is. There's no change. There's no editing. Exactly the same. So it's a very big offense to change and invent something out of my own stupid brain. That's what they're doing nowadays. Chota Bhim. What is this Chota Bhim cartoon? Bhim is going to school and doing some stupid things. I mean, this is Bhima is such a pure devotee, and they're making a mockery out of him. Similarly, I mean everything. I mean they're doing all sorts of nonsense. Serials, movies, everything is nonsense. They will go to hell. I'm telling you, for changing everything. Radhika Mother is saying, I think even if I forget the remaining 9, I will remember Krikara now. Yeah, Krikara is growling. The hunger. Krikara air. Actually, Krikara. Kara means to do. Krikara means something which does the kr sound. That's how I see it. I mean, I may be super speculating here, but it sounds logical even to me. Not only sound like it, but even sounds logical. Like krikara. The air that does kr sound. Then what else? So Vrinda Gupta answers this question: will Krishna not help his devotee remember him at the time of death? We have shown the verse from Varaha Puran, and also Dimitri Prabhu showed some quotes from Prabhupada. This thing. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. He quoted this in connection to something that I said. I don't remember what he quoted, but yeah. for the devotees, that's how devotees, like you see Pandavas, Bhishmadev said, Aho kashtam, aho anyayam, yad yuyam dharmanandana. See, how much tribulations, how much injustice was performed to you. But you were saved by, God, religion, and everything. So, the toughest life the Pandavas had. But when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Those who are not tough, they will fizzle away, they will die away. So as we advance, there will be tougher tests, but we don't need to be scared of that because Krishna will give us the strength how to pass through the test. We should be determined to pass. That's it. Krishna, throw whatever at me, but give me the strength to pass them. That's it. It's not that, oh, there will be tougher tests, is it? So I will not become a serious devotee. Yeah, then you will be in the toughest situation because you will be in the material world. But these tough tests are actually will catapult us to the spiritual world. There will be no more tough. It will be easy life after that with Krishna. But if you are not willing to take the sacrifice, higher devotee means then higher tests. Okay, let me remain at this stage so that I won't get a bigger test. Arey, you mean birth and death is not big? It's the biggest. So anyway, they will go through any tribulation. Why devotees are given such tribulations? First of all, for those who are not pure yet, these situations will purify them. They will become more and more Krishna conscious. Just like Kunti Devi said, give us trouble so that we can remember you in the trouble times. Because in easy times we'll forget you, and that is the real challenge. Challenges are not these trouble times. The troubles are not challenges. The easy time, as I said earlier, is the real challenge. Yeah. So similarly, so when the tough times are there, the tough get going. So we become tough. We can, what is it called? Resilience. We will develop the resilience to deal with this material world, become more strong. And for those who are already perfect, why do they have to go? Like Pandavas, they're all pure devotees. Why do they have to go? They don't have any karma to deal with. So why are they having tests? So to show others that, you see, if you are that pure, no matter this kind of heavy things may be happening to you, but you will easily pass. Guruna api vichalyate, Krishna said to Arjuna, in that samadhi state in 6th chapter, 22nd verse, 23rd verse, Guruna api vichalyate, even the toughest situation we will not be shaken. Yam labdhva chaparam labham manyate na adhikam tata yasmin sthito na dukkhena guruna api vichalyate. Even the worst conditions, he will be absolutely happy. And, okay. But we need examples, right? We need examples. Like how that can be done, so here Pandavas. They went through everything, but they never deviated from their path. And they were happy. And any situation, whether in the forest or in the palace. They had the best palace. Mayadanav built for them the best palace. Nowhere to be found in the history of the earth. That kind of palace they had. But at one point they were in the forest after that. But they were not, how forest I will commit suicide. No, they did not do that. Never. They bounced back even and fought the war again. They were on a battlefield, they were in a war. They were in a battlefield, they were in a palace, they were in a forest with wild animals and everything. Nothing deterred them from Krishna consciousness. So that is the meaning of samadhi. So to set examples for others. So when the going gets tough, the tough get going. So we have to become tough. But when there is a recently I have been hearing this quote from some karmi fellows, but it's a proverb. They say, tough times create tough men. Tough men create easy times, because when they go through all the tough life, and they become responsible and they become this thing, and they rule in a particular way which makes things easy for others. So tough times create tough men create easy times create soft men create tough times, and again tough times creates tough men, and the cycle goes on. So it's very true in one sense, because tough times create tough men. Okay, materially not so, but spiritually especially true. But if we take it for granted, so tough times create tough men. Tough men create easy times. They will make life easy for everybody. But easy times is where the problem is, because they create soft men. In one sense, that means if there is no tribulation, we'll become soft. I mean, we can't even deal with Maya. We can't. And such people will create not only problems for themselves but others also. So tough times create tough men, tough men create easy time create soft men create tough times. So when, for example, I can see this in the life cycle of devotees. For example, how people become devotees. Two ways. Either they inquired about it and then they were going through tough times in life, whether in their inquiry process or their life itself, some distressed, inquisitive, desire of wealth, and the wise, right? So they have something which they've faced, which is a tough thing for them. Whether it's the knowledge, inquisitive means the tough thing is he's unable to crack what is that mystery of knowledge. So that is one tough thing. So he's going through something, which is making him inquire, or he's in distress, absolute distress, or desiring wealth. So they're going through some tough time, which will, inspire them to think about God. Those who are pious. Those who are not pious, they will go to drinking and drugs. But we're talking about the pious. So tough times, they may come to this Krishna consciousness. And when they become devotees, and when they may even read Prabhupada's books and they become devotees, and now maybe they even come from troubled backgrounds, family backgrounds, whatever. Now they became devotees. Now they have children. Now the children of the devotees usually, many times, they don't become devotees. Why? Actually, it's a good chance that they can become devotees, because easy start. I mean, from the very beginning they start. But they don't take it easily, because it's given to them. They don't actually question about it, unless they are, raised properly and they actually made to ask good questions. Maybe sometimes it is also the fault of the parents sometimes, because the parents are not serious enough devotees to raise their children in proper Krishna consciousness. But sometimes, even with the full effort of the parents, sometimes devotees, the children may just take it too easy, and then they become not so, and then they may drift away. But of course, life will hit them hard some time of their life. But they create tough times for others. So this is the thing. So we should never be comfortable in easy times. In fact, we have to fear easy times. When everything is going good, we should fear that. Oh, now I may become less Krishna conscious than I actually am. So actually the easy times are the biggest challenge, even bigger challenge than the tough times. So when we look at it that way, then we will look at every single time as a challenge. Every single step is a challenge. Padam padam yad vipadam, it is said, right? Every step is a danger. No, I don't see, I'm perfectly fine, I'm not in danger, you know what? But what is actually a danger? When we don't remember Krishna, that is a danger. So padam padam, every step is a danger. Yeah, we can die at any time, that is all danger, yes. But now I'm not feeling in danger, I'm comfortably sitting in my room, talking to you, you are listening comfortably, watching on. Where is the danger? Not every. So I may think, oh, it is not every step danger. No, it is every step danger. Because this lack of danger is the danger. Because we are not remembering Krishna. And with every moment not remembering Krishna, we are piling up that memory of not remembering Krishna, of remembering things other than Krishna. And that will influence our memory at the time of death. And that is the biggest danger if we can't remember him. Therefore it is said, this 2936, that verse, no? What is that? Yanmuhurtam kshanam vape. Always say, Yanmuhurtam kshanam vape ma vasudevam nachintayat. See how big purport this is. Sahanisya. Sahanistan mahachidram samoha sacha vibhrama yanmuhurtam kshanam vapin vasudevam nachintayet. If even for a moment remembrance of Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is missed, that is the greatest loss, that is the greatest illusion, and that is the greatest anomaly. So the greatest danger is not remembering Krishna. And that greatest danger will manifest at the time when we are without danger, when we are without visible danger. When there is visible danger, then we become. But danger is always lurking. Just that it is not visible to me, but the danger is there. That verse I have shown before, 4:29:53, I think so. Is that so? Let me see. Yes. Shudram charam sumanasam sharane mithitva raktam षडङ्घ्रिगणस्वाम सुलुब्ध karnam agre vrikana sutripo viganayya yantam prishthe mrigam mrigaya lubdha kabana bhinnam. My dear king, please search out that deer who is engaged in eating grass in a very nice flower garden along with his wife. That deer is very much attached to his business and is enjoying the sweet singing of the bumblebees in his garden. Just try to understand his position. He is unaware that before him is a tiger who is accustomed to living at the cost of another's flesh. Behind the deer is a hunter who is threatening to pierce him with sharp arrows. Thus, the deer's death is imminent. So, the danger is lurking. Imminent, in fact. It's not just lurking means, oh, lurking, so be aware of it. No, it's imminent. That means it's unavoidable. The danger is unavoidable. It's just that the deer can't see it. He's just blind to the danger. So, when we are in so-called good times and easy times, we're actually blind to the danger. And that is the biggest danger. To be aware of the danger is better than to be not aware of the danger. To be not aware of the danger and be in this ignorance is bliss kind of attitude is greater danger than to be alert of the danger. That's why devotees are alert about the danger of material world, and that is what makes them purified. That will not make them strong because they're alert. To be not alert is the biggest danger. So, Sumana Samadharmanam. So, again, I'll just read the English. Next verse. My dear king, woman who is very attractive in the beginning but in the end very disturbing is exactly like the flower which is attractive in the beginning but and detestable at the end. The flower garden, the deer was in the flower garden. So, that flower is this woman. So, that wife. See. With woman, the living entity is entangled with lusty desires and enjoys sex just as one enjoys the aroma of a flower. He thus enjoys a life of sense gratification from his tongue to his genitals, and in this way the living entity considers himself very happy in family life. United with his wife, he remains always absorbed in such thoughts. He feels great pleasure in hearing the talks of his wife and children, which are like the sweet humming of bumblebees that collect honey from flower to flower. So this deer is hearing the bumblebee humming. He forgets that before him is time, which is like the tiger, which is taking away his lifespan and with the passing of day and night. He does not see the gradual diminishing of his life, nor does he care about the superintendent of death who is trying to kill him from behind, the hunter. Just try to understand this. You are in a precarious position and are threatened from all sides. And this is the meaning of padam yad vipadam. Every step is a danger. In this way, the heavenly planets are the most dangerous, not the hellish. Hellish, yeah, is dangerous, visible danger, but the heavenly planets are even more dangerous because we'll forget Krishna. That's why this earth is just the right amount of misery and happiness so that we can actually are not too afflicted with pain like in hell, where is this? We almost cannot remember. We have no time to even think of anything when you are in intense pain like that. And we don't have unlimited happiness. I mean, so much happiness that we forget Krishna again. So too much pain and too much comfort is, difficult to remember Krishna. But just the right amount, yes, it is a conducive environment so that we become strong enough that even in the most painful or even in the most easy situation, we always remember Krishna. So why Swargapavarga Narakesha Pitulyartha Darshinaha? Why for the devotee, whether heaven, hell or liberation is the same? Because he is always alert to Maya, and he is always conscious of Krishna. He doesn't take the easy times for granted, he just remembers Krishna. He is not distracted. That's why Matra Sparshastu Kaunteya Shita Ushna Sukha Dukkha Daha. Tolerate not only the distress but also the happiness. Tolerate means what? Tolerate means don't be distracted. Keep your focus on me. That is the purport to that. So, we have to remember Krishna no matter whether it's Sukha or Dukkha. Sukhe Dukhe Bhulo Nako Sada Hari Naam Bolo Re. Song is like that. Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So, two verses before we wrap up maybe. One is this. You see here, Prahlad Maharaj is saying 7, 9, 15. नाहं बिभेम्य जिततेति भयानकास्य जिह्वार्कनेत्रभ्रुकुटीरभसोग्रतंष्ट्रात् आन्त्रस्रजः क्षतजकेशरशङ्कुकर्णान् निर्ह्रादभीतदिगिभाद ariभिन्नखाग्रात्. My Lord, who are never conquered by anyone, I am certainly not afraid of your ferocious mouth and tongue, your eyes bright like the sun, or your frowning eyebrows. I do not fear your sharp pinching teeth, your garland of intestines, your mane soaked with blood, or your high wedge-like ears. Nor do I fear your tumultuous roaring, which makes elephants flee to distant places, or your nails, which are meant to kill your enemies. I am not afraid of this. Trastosmyaham kripanavatsaladuh sahogra samsarachakrakadanaad grasatam pranitah baddha svakarmabhirushattamate prītopavarga sharanam vayase kadanu. O most powerful, insurmountable Lord, who are kind to the fallen souls, I have been put into the association of demons as a result of my activities, and therefore I am very much afraid of my condition of life within this material world. When will that moment come when you will call me to the shelter of your lotus feet, which are the ultimate goal of liberation from conditional life? So he is very afraid of or alert of material life. And to this we have another explanation by I think Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, if I am not wrong. 10-8. Within the womb of Devaki is my partial plenary expansion known as Sankarshana or Shesha. Without difficulty transfer him into the womb of Rohini. So, in this, a pure devotee is always transcendently situated because of executing 9 different processes of Bhakti Yoga: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. Thus situated in devotional service, a devotee, although in the material world, is not in the material world. Yet a devotee always fears, because I am associated with the material world, so many contaminations affect me. Therefore, he is always alert in fear, which gradually diminishes his material association. This alertness and fear will gradually diminish his material association. Otherwise, if I am not fearful, I will easily associate material nature, and that's how I will be allured into her trap. But if I am always alert and fear. So here, symbolically, Mother Devaki's constant fear of Kamsa was purifying her. So when she was pregnant with the children, first 6 children, she was always afraid of Kamsa because he would kill the child. Symbolically, Mother Devaki's constant fear of Kamsa was purifying her. A pure devotee should always fear material association, and in this way, all the asuras of material association will be killed, as the Shadgarbhasuras were killed by Kamsa. So you see, the 6 sons of Devaki were killed. They actually symbolize the the material association will be killed, just as so Shadgarbhasura, the Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, these are the 6 enemies. And Shadvidha and also Preeti Lakshanam. Shadvidham Preeti Lakshanam. What is that? Dadati, Pratigrahanati, Guhyamakhyati, Prichhati, Bhunkte, Bhojayate Chaiva. Shadvidham Preeti Lakshanam. So we develop affection for somebody through these six activities. What are they? Offering gifts, receiving gifts, inquiring confidentially or revealing one's mind, and offering food and accepting food. But so if I do these things with materialistic people, or in other words with material nature, if I develop an affection for material nature with this Preeti Lakshanam, then I will be allured into her trap. So these 6 types of things I have to avoid. So Shadgarbhasuras are these, all these 6 Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, which come with these 6 types of, interactions and with the material world. And to avoid that, we have to accept the 6-fold things that Rupa Goswami said. Utsaha, Nischaya, Dhairya, Tattat Karma Pravartanat, Sangatyaga, Satovritte, Shadbhir Bhakti Prasiddhyati. So there are 6 things which diminish our devotional service, and 6 things that increase our devotional service, 6 things that increase our relationship either with devotees or with non-devotees, and there are the 6 kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. So if you take out the 6 things that increase devotional service, so the 6 things that spoil devotional service and 6 things that increase our affection for something, and if we do it with non-devotees, and the 6 vices, kama, krodha, lobha, 666. I think in Christianity 666 means Satan, right? These 3 6. So maybe this is the reason why. Just saying. So these 6 things. So why Satan 666? So how to counteract this Satan? With another 6. Chakka. In cricket 6 means, sixer. Another chakka. What is that? The 6 things favorable for devotional service. And the 6 things that the association, if we do with devotees. These 2 sixes will completely turn the game. Just like one team hits sixes in the cricket match, then in reply another team also comes and hits sixes, and then he may actually cross the score and win the cricket match. So Maya is hitting sixes, chakka on us. We are getting bold. So we have to also hit 6 chakka with this association with devotees and 6 things favorable to devotional service. So here Shadgarbhasuras, the 6 asuras. Here it is said, a pure devotee should always fear material association, and this way all the asuras of material association will be killed. Kamadinam katina katitha palita durnidesha. So these things will be killed. So Kamsa. So here it appears from the mind Marichi appears. In other words, Marichi is an incarnation of the mind. Marichi has 6 sons: Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, and Matsarya. Lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, and envy. The Supreme Personality of Godhead appears in pure devotional service. This is confirmed in the Vedas. Bhakti revainam darshayati. Only bhakti can bring one in contact with the personality, Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared from the womb of Devaki, and therefore Devaki symbolically represents bhakti, and Kamsa symbolically represents material fear. When the pure devotee always fears material association, his real position of bhakti is manifested. And see, his real position of bhakti is manifested. When he fears material, when he doesn't fear, it is not manifested. And he naturally becomes uninterested in material enjoyment. When the 6 sons of Marichi are killed by such fear, and one is freed from material contamination, within the womb of bhakti, the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears. Thus, the 7th pregnancy of Devaki signifies the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. After the 6 sons, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, and Matsarya are killed, the Sesha incarnation, which is Balram, creates a suitable situation for the appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the Asuras were kicked out of the womb. Now the Balram, he comes and cleans the whole womb of our heart, and then Krishna appears. So we need spiritual strength of Balram to make Krishna appear. Creates a suitable situation for the appearance of the Supreme Personality of God. In other words, when one awakens his natural Krishna consciousness, Lord Krishna appears. This is the explanation given by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Look at how deep this is. So tough times, in other words, when the going gets tough get going. That's where we were. So tough times are good. Tough times are the good times. Easy times are the tough times. So we should see like that. Then yes, we'll be always careful, always alert for even when there is easy times. I know that's a long-winded answer, but long-winded comment. In fact, it was not a question. Pradyumna Das, the 6th Guru must be there to inquire. Guru must be there to inquire from. Can one say that without Shiksha Guru, Srila Prabhupada, via his books, can answer our question? He can answer our question. Many devotees have this. I had many times. Whatever question you have, whatever something is bothering you, then when you read, you will find the answer. You'll find the answer as you're reading. You're not actually making an effort where to find the answer to this. No, you're just reading as a daily duty of reading books. Whatever book you're reading, just continue reading that, but you'll find the answer. In some way or another, that word hits you just right. So that is there. But even if that is one way, but to have conclusive, definitive answers, okay, this is the shloka, this is where it said, this is where. Yeah, Shiksha Gurus will help. So they will point to Prabhupada's books, this is this. They will show from here and here and here and here and here. So that will even more solidify our faith. You see? So yeah, Shiksha Guru, we have to stay in the association of devotees. We are not into this thing that, oh, we are Prabhupada Anugas, I'm just going to read books and stay alone. Nonsense. If you ever read Prabhupada's books, you are always ordered to stay in association of devotees. What are you reading books if you are not staying with devotees? What kind of reading is that? The whole thing is sadhu sangha, sarva shastra koi. All shastra is saying, sarva shastra koi means what? All shastras are saying sadhu sangha. Lavamatra sadhu sangha sarva siddhi hoy. And I am reading shastra and I am not associating with sadhu. What reading I am doing then? Sadhu sangha, sarva shastra koi. Every whole shastra is pointing us to that we have to have sadhu sangha. And if you are not having sadhu sangha and I am just, how you can say I am reading Prabhupada's purport, that is sadhu sangha. Yes, there is sadhu sangha. But what is Prabhupada saying in the purport? Associate with devotees. Why did he create the temple then? Why did he create the association? International Society for Krishna Consciousness. He should have just created Bhaktivedanta the book trust and there's no society, just print books, sell, that's all. We'll make business out of this. And everybody just reading. There's no need of temples, there's no need of society, there's nothing. Just print Bhaktivedanta the book trust is enough. No. He said books are the basis. He did not say books are the only thing. Books are the basis. But on that basis we have to build the whole system. The temple, the devotees, everything, the services and everything. Because we have to serve. The books are saying we have to serve. So there has to be a facility where we can serve. And that's a temple. So this is what. That's why everything is required. We are not into this only Prabhupada books and then stay alone. Rubbish. Associate with devotees. There are some that say there is no need of physical Shiksha Guru. There is need. We are absolutely against that. There is no need of Guru. Unless one is a Paramahamsa, he cannot control himself. He has to have him. He has to be in the association of devotees. And even if he is Paramahamsa, he still stays with the association of devotees so that to teach others. And even to help them, in fact. But who has gained consciousness last stage of our life, what will be the result? What? Oh, but for those who have gained consciousness at the last stage of our life, what will be the result? Well, Antakale Mameva Smaran Mukta Kalevram, I showed you just now, 8.5. We'll go back to Krishna. Pradyumna, perchance did Ajamal get initiation? Yeah. I mean, he was initiated, he was a Brahman actually. He was following everything. But he was allured by this prostitute and that's how he fell down. Radhika Mother, Prabhu, small doubt here, like the verse just now, Sakradeva Prapanyos. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Yamaraj says only once those who don't bow down to Krishna suffer in hell, continue. What is that? But what if one bows down to Krishna but still engages in sin like eating meat? Will they suffer? They will suffer. See what? So Sakradeva, if I one time I bow down to Krishna, that is one step closer to Krishna, right? It is a 1,000,000-mile journey, but I have taken the first step. So, Krishna will protect us. That one step will go. It's not that his life has entirely come to a stop yet, but that one step will eventually accumulate. And maybe after one life or after 5 lives, he will get the chance for the next step. But he is definitely, for example, to be born as a tree is such a sinful birth, right? Among the trees, the flowering trees are better because their flowers can be offered to Krishna. But although they may have nice flowers, their flowers may never be offered to Krishna. And some trees have only the opportunity whose flowers are offered to Krishna. What makes that this plant has the chance to serve Krishna, whereas this plant does not? All are plant life, right? Like all should be of the same level of karma. But why? How come this plant has higher fortune than this plant? That means there is something else playing in factor. Maybe this plant in his previous life, he was a lusty fellow, which is why he became a plant now. And maybe some service somewhere, Ajñāta Sukriti, somewhere he did. Now he is getting. So Krishna is saving, although he is in a plant's body, Krishna is saving him by somehow arranging that flower. Either the devotee himself plucks the flower or somebody else plucks flower. Like we order flowers. And these flowers come from India, Thailand, few places. And they come here and we make garland, our devotees make garland and then offer to Krishna and Krishna wears it. Now, These flowers are coming from far off distant countries. They are nowhere close to Krishna. Still there is a chance for their flower to be transported in the aeroplane and come here and then get to that particular vendor who is selling the flowers to us, and that flower comes to us and it will be used in Krishna's service. From which farm, from which place, and how did that flower go all the way to come to Krishna here? Just imagine the amount of mercy that is going on. We can't even see. How Krishna is saving a plant thousands of miles away and engaging in Krishna's service. The plant is not moving, it cannot move. He is staying in one place, but his flower is going thousands of miles away to serve Krishna, and he is getting benefited. So how is that possible? And from the same farm, there may be flowers of other plants, the same, it is going to maybe the same vendor or a different vendor and is going somewhere else. On the same farm, one plant is serving Krishna, one plant is not. Just beside each other maybe. Just try to understand how Krishna's... So we don't know, even if he... So how Krishna is saving abhayam sarvada tasmai. I will give him fearlessness. How? This is how. This is one example how. Many cows are sent for slaughter and they are suffering heavy karma. But one of those cows who is being slaughtered, why he is being slaughtered? Because he was a cow slaughterer in his previous life. But somehow that milk is being offered to Krishna. Maybe the cow is in New Zealand, but the milk is coming all the way to here, and here we are offering to Krishna. And that cow in New Zealand, who was a cow killer. So that means maybe he was a butcher, but maybe for a devotee, maybe he gave something in donation, or maybe he helped a devotee doing something. Whatever happened, however it happened, that suffering soul, although he goes through the karma and yes, but there is some saving grace. Krishna is somehow pulling him, bit by bit. That's why it is said, neha bhikrama nashosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamapyasya dharma satrayate mahato bhayat. He will save us from the greatest of dangers. We don't even know how Krishna is so merciful. We can't even fathom his mercy. But if we just see these examples, that how these sinful souls, some of these sinful souls are so fortunate, something they have done. So eventually they will come to this point where they will surrender their entire life. Now we are sitting here discussing Bhagavad-gītā and all this Bhagavatam, discussing the most elevated topics of the universe. How did we get to this point? We might have been those flowering plants, or the fruit giving plants, or the vegetable giving plants. We are going to the market tomorrow morning I am going to the market to get some vegetables. Where did those vegetables come from? Which plant? Which farm? Which plants? Which soul? What did he do in his last life? You will be amazed at the logistics of Krishna. At how, when he says this sloka, Bhagavad-gītā 18th chapter, Brahmayan sarva bhutani, I am sitting in everyone's heart and directing the wanderings of all living entities. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hridde Arjuna tishtati, Brahmayan sarva bhutani yantrarudhani mayaya. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities. When we actually really stop and think about how he is directing the wanderings of all living entities, we will just be amazed at the logistics of Krishna. How everybody is moving, how they are moving. How living entities are put in different ways and different. So, if he bows down to Krishna even once, somehow or other, but if he's doing all nonsense, but somehow or other, sometimes we have those examples where a perfectly sinful person, perfectly sinful I'm saying, because he's only doing sin, but sometimes they come here and do some favor for a devotee in a small little way, or they may come to the temple and may just do like this and go, or whatever it is, or they may appreciate a devotee. Nandati also is appreciation of devotees also goes a long way. So maybe devotees did something good and they appreciate the character of a devotee, whatever it is. All this is adding up. And Krishna takes note. Om kratosmara kritam smara kratosmara kritam smara. A devotee who has entire life to serve Krishna, he is praying to the Lord, please remember what I have done. Please save me. But the Lord remembers those things which you don't even know what you did. You gave a $2 donation to a devotee. When we go out collection, and book distribution, sometimes they give just donation. I don't want a book. I don't want a book. Okay, here, take a donation. You are helping some people, right? Okay, take this donation and go. They put some coin inside. They don't even know what they did. Even then Krishna remembers. What to speak of a person who is consciously serving Krishna whole life. This is what it means. This is what it means by the mercy of Krishna. Let me show you. Sevam managapi kritam bahudabhyupaiti. Bhrityasya pashyati gurun api naparadham. Sevam managapi kritam bahudabhyupaiti. Avishkaroti pishuneshvapi nabhyasuyam. Shilena nirmalamati puruṣottamoyam. Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as Puruṣottama. Today's verse has Puruṣottama. Why is he called Puruṣottama? The greatest of all persons has a pure mind. He is so gentle that even if his servant is implicated in a great offense, he does not take it very seriously. Indeed, if his servant renders some small service, the Lord accepts it as being very great. Even if an envious person blasphemes the Lord never manifests anger against him. Such are his great qualities. This is how merciful the Lord is. When you say Brahman, actually that is it is the most complicated thing, logistics. If you really think about it, the complexity of the wanderings of the living entities, which soul has to be put where and what, even in this life, whose association he gets and how he molds himself, everything is just unimaginably perfect, and the amount of intelligence needed to do that, only Krishna can do it. So that's the answer to that. How to fix that in the next life, if we will engage in bhakti. Yeah, we will engage. I mean, if we did something in this life, then Krishna will give us opportunity in the next life. Shubham Shukla is saying, because I know I am in my last stage of life. Wow. I don't know what you're going through, but whether we are in the last stage or the first stage, we are all heading to the same destination. Maybe somebody is earlier in that queue, somebody is later. So, even if you are sinful or whatever, if you are last stage in your life, all glories to you. I mean, your test is approaching, and all you have to do now is remember Krishna like anything. If you're really at the last stage of your life, I hope you're not just making a wild claim here. If you really are in your last stage of your life, then just read Prabhupada's books and chant Hare Krishna. That's the best thing you can do. I'll give you an example. There was this person in this Singapore. I told this example before. There was a story that happened, an amazing story. In Singapore, there was one. So, nowadays actually we're not doing it so much. We used to do a lot before. We need to start that back again. Because of a lack of manpower, we did not do it. So previously, our devotees, they used to go. I did not do actually personally this thing. They used to go and preach in the prisons. So sometimes they distribute books there. I mean, you can't give a hardbound book because sometimes they use the book as a weapon and they beat other people. So you have to give only a soft-bound book. So one person, he got the science of self-realization. So different faiths, like Buddhist or Islam or Christianity, Hindu, they all go and preach there in the prisons. You see, the government allows us to preach in the prison, but not in the open society. I mean, they do. I mean, in our temple, but not outside or something like that. But there, we can go to a government facility and preach there. If only they have given the facility outside, there will be no prisoners almost. If everybody hears, there will be no prisoners. So anyway, they give us a chance. So one of the person got a softbound book, Science of Self-Realization, and he read that book, and that person was sentenced to death, and that's why he was in prison, and he was going to go to the gallows to be hung. And he read this book. So we don't know what happened. So many months later, the prison warden, who actually is the one who executes, who actually, who's the one who hangs the person, that person came to the temple. And he said, hey, I have an amazing story to tell you. He told Prabhu, Sundar Prabhu. What is that? You know what? My job is to actually hang people in the prison. And also to cane people in the prison. So I am trained to do this. But I observe something magical. What is that? Usually when I drag people to the gallows, this thing, they will cry, scream, and try to hold on to everything to not go. They will try their best not to be dragged to that place. And they're frantic. It takes many people to actually catch one person and get him to that place. But there was this man. I did not need to do anything with him. He just walked with me. I did not even have to hold his hand. He just walked with me. And Even when he was hung, he did not protest anything. He just accepted. And you know what? That person was reading your book, Science of Self-Realization. So that means that person was so convinced of what he read, that I am a spirit soul, I am not going to die, I am eternal. And what went through him? That he was completely fearless. Abhayam sarvada tasmai. I mean, he was such a sinful person that he had to be hanged. And now, with this last moment in contact with the devotee, with reading the book, Prabhupada's book, fearless in the face of death. And he was being taken to the gallows, and he was absolutely fearless. So this is how we face death, fearless. So of course he will, next life, wherever he is, he will make very swift advancement because of this. So if you are in the last stage of your life, then just do this. Read Prabhupada's books. Be absolutely sure that whatever is said there is absolutely perfect. You need not doubt one single word in that book, in those books, and read and chant Hare Krishna. You will go back to Godhead for sure. Death everybody will face. Now you are in this stage. One day I will be in the last stage. Everybody who is listening here will be in the last stage, and we all have to face this one day. So it's either now or never, now or later. So we just have to do it now. Asking on devotees' behalf. Prabhuji, just like the sun, God Vivaswan is inside the sun planet. Demigods like Varunadev and Pavanadev, they are also residing separately, although everyone is using water and breathing air respectively. Also, by serving Lord Sri Krishna directly, devotees are feeling ultimate transcendental bliss. Okay, that is next question. Sun God is in the sun, but demigods like Varunadev, they are also residing separately, although everyone is using the water and breathing air respectively. Yeah, of course. They are also, yes, they are residing separately. Also, by serving Lord Sri Krishna directly, devotees are feeling ultimate transcendental bliss. Could you please explain how can they experience transcendental bliss this way? Because most of the time they are in touch with living entities than the Lord. So what? And through the living entities, they are in touch with the Lord. Because they understand that this living entity is a part and parcel of Krishna. Who is this living entity? Where did he come from? He's a part and parcel of Krishna. So how can they not be in touch with the Lord all the time? And the Lord is sitting in everyone's heart. They are always in touch with the Lord. And actually they are in touch with the living entities through the Lord. That's how the devotee feels compassion for every living entity, because he knows that that living entity, he feels related to that living entity because of the via medium relationship of Krishna. Because that living entity belongs to Krishna and I belong to Krishna, so therefore we are both related. The connecting factor for both of us is Krishna. So even if he's looking at the living entities, he's seeing how to save them. And that is because he identifies them as a servant of Krishna. There is a beautiful line I just read. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said in one of the songs, it is only the line is quoted, but I did not see which song it is. In the Sharanagati book, some commentary. So there I saw this line summarizes the feeling of a preacher. Vinoda kohe hai hai, Haridas hari nahi paye. Vinoda kohe hai hai, Haridas hari nahi paye. Hi means hi. It's like a alas, oh no, that kind of hi. In Bengali it's like that. So Vinoda kohe hi, Haridas hari nahi paye. Haridas hari nahi paye. He is a servant of Hari, but he has not attained Hari. He is suffering in his material world. Oh, this gives me a lot of sadness. So with that he goes and preaches. Vinoda kohe hi, Haridas hari nahi paye. So whenever he sees a person, he sees Haridas. He is a Haridas. Like Mahatma Gandhi, he said Harijan. He is a stupid fellow. Harijan means he should be he's a servant of Krishna. That's how we must see. He just labeled them as Harijan and kept them as Sudras and not less than Sudras. That's not. He has to actually make them Harijan. Haridas Hari nahi paye. This is the real Harijan vision. He is a Haridas, but he is not serving Hari. Let me introduce Hari to him. Let me help him serve Hari. Let his suffering go down. So that is the mood of a preacher. So how they are in transcendental bliss? So they are always in transcendental bliss, like this. (7:44). I'm sorry, it's getting very late for you all. Prayēṇa deva munaya svavimukti kāma maunam charanti vijanena pararthanishthāh naitān vihāya kripaṇān vimumuksha eko nānyam vadasya sharanam pramato nupashye. My dear Lord Narasimhadev, I see that there are many saintly persons indeed, but they are interested only in their own deliverance, not caring for the big cities and towns. Okay, actually I wanted to show the verse before this. Not caring for the big cities and towns, they go to the Himalayas or the forest to meditate with vows of silence. They are not interested in delivering others. As for me, I do not wish to be liberated alone, leaving aside all these poor fools and rascals. I know that without Krishna consciousness, without taking shelter of your lotus feet, one cannot be happy. Therefore, I wish to bring them back to shelter at your lotus feet. And before this, you see, Naivo dvije paraduratya vaitaranyastvad gayana mahamritamagna chitta shoche tato vimukache sasa indriyartha maya sukhaya bharamudvahato vimudhan. O best of the great personalities, I am not at all afraid of material existence, for wherever I stay, I am fully absorbed in thoughts of your glories and activities. So he is always happy. My concern is only for the fools and rascals who are making elaborate plans for material happiness and maintaining their families, societies and countries. I am simply concerned with love for them. Vinoda kohe hai hai Haridas Harinahi pai. This is the... So he is seeing all the people, but he is seeing Haridas. Therefore he is seeing Hari. And he is taking them closer to Hari. That is how it is done. Yes, Brajkishore is quoting that Sahanistan Mahaschitram. Also on devotees' behalf. Prabhuji, sometimes we commit offenses unintentionally and then we get punishment for it, but somehow with Krishna's mercy we overcome it. How should we feel at this time? Happy for remembering Krishna after getting punished or sad for committing that offense? Both. And I'll tell you, sad for committing that offense is what will make us humble. And this is again I learned from Sharanagati. Book Sharanagati is the book of songs of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So as I said in the other class, Sharanagati is a book of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. That's a beautiful book. Why? Because Sharanagati, there are 6 aspects of surrender. Anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjanam, rakshishati vishwaso, goptritve varanam tatha, atmanikshepa karpanya, shadvidha Sharanagati. This is another 6. Another chakka. Sharanagati. Another 6er. So what is that? 6 aspects of surrender. Yes, that's very nice. Good. We have completed the 6s. Okay. So, in this, humility. Karpanya is humility. One of the 6 aspects is humility. So now, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written songs on each of these 6. So, Sharanagati is actually songs on humility. How to develop humility. What is humility? What does humility mean? What a devotee should feel when he is humble. That is dainya, which is also karpanya. So then there is atma samarpan, atmanikshepa. Then there is goptritve varanam. All this in reverse order. He actually writes all these things. Goptritve varanam, and then rakshishati vishwaso. Then what is that? Pratikulyasya varjanam. Then anukulyasya sankalpa. So he writes songs. I think 2 or 3 songs for humility, 2 or 3 songs for every stage he reads. So when you read the song, then you will understand what humility is. So there, humility, in the section of humility, what is the songs he wrote? The first section is humility. Because Trinadapi Sunichena. And he wrote Bhuliya Tumare Samsare Asiya Nana Peya Nana Vidha Bhyatha. So I have come into this world forgetting you and I have committed such heinous sins. So he is repenting those sins he has committed. He does not remember what sins. Bhaktivinoda Thakur did not commit any sins, but he is representing us. So we don't remember what anadi karma phale he is saying in the songs. Anadi karma phale podi bhavarnava jale. I have fallen into this. How many sins I have done? I can't even remember. How many lifetimes? I don't even remember. All those are unintentional sins, right? We do not. Now I don't intend to commit those sins. But so all those sins are committed. So I'm fallen here now. Krishna, please save. And he is repenting those. How horrible I have been. How fallen I am. So that is how humility comes. How will I think I am fallen? Humility means to think I am fallen. How to think I am fallen when I am doing all Vaishnava things? I should remember my past and repent. Oh, I think I am a big sadhu. Oh, because I am chanting some Hare Krishna now. Just until yesterday I was an idiot. I mean, I was doing all kind of nonsense, and I'm big sadhu suddenly. If I have any good qualities, because Krishna, devotees, mercy, something, I'm developing something. What? What do I have alone? I have no good quality. So, that's how humility develops, by repentance. Yes, I learned from the Sharanagati songbook. Repentance is the cause of humility. So that's how we become humble and not having this huge this thing. And then that will develop into being humble at all times. So in that songs of humility, he wrote those songs, repentance. So that's why unintentionally, if you commit offenses, we have to say, Krishna, I'm so just horrible. I'm unintentionally committing so many offenses. That's why I'm facing this huge problem. I'm not able to remember Krishna, or I'm having this, you know, weird thoughts against devotional service. All this is because I'm doing all these offenses. Krishna, please give me some intelligence so that I can see what I'm doing, and let me correct those things. Give me intelligence. Pray to Krishna. So that's how we come out of these things. 11 to 12. Wow, this is even a very nice verse. Wow, 11 to 12. Okay, let's go to 11 to 12. श्रुतोऽनुपठितोऽध्यात आदृतो वानुमोदितः सद्यः पुनाति सद्धर्मो देव विश्वद्रुहोऽपि हि. Wow, super. Very nice. Anumodita, praised when performed by others. So, pure devotional service. Pure devotional service rendered to the Supreme Lord is spiritually so potent that simply by hearing about such transcendental service, hearing about service, not even hearing about the Lord, hearing about the service of the Lord that some devotee has come, by chanting its glories in response, wow, this is so nice, by chanting its glories of the service in response, by meditating on it, by respectfully and faithfully accepting it, or by praising the devotional service of others, even persons who hate demigods and all other living beings can immediately be purified. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So this is how actually we have to praise others' devotional service. We should never be envious of others' devotees' progress. How come I am not? And then this other, of course, I knew this verse, but I never knew this verse. So I knew 8:36. That too because Prabhu showed it once. शृण्वन्ति गायन्ति गृह्णन्त्यभीक्ष्णशः स्मरन्ति नन्दन्ति तवेहितं जनाः त एव पश्यन्त्यचिरेण तावकं भवप्रवाहो परमं पदाम्बुजम्. O Krishna, those who continuously hear, chant and repeat your transcendental activities or take pleasure in others doing so, certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. So if they take pleasure or praise others' devotional service, nandanti, then, but here in this verse is even more sharp. Even persons who hate the demigods, they can be immediately purified just by. So the service to Krishna is so potent. This here is not even the Lord, the service to the Lord. In fact, it attracts even Krishna. Krishna Karshini. Bhakti is called Krishna Karshini in the Nectar of Devotion. I mean, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Rupa Goswami, he defined Bhakti as Krishna Karshini. Attracts even Krishna. It is so purifying. Very nice. Pradyumna Das Prabhu. I really appreciate this class, Prabhu. Thank you for attending though. I appreciate your patience. We can have a reel on these 6 transcendental sixers. Yeah. Chakkas. How to defeat the Maya's 666 with Krishna's 666. So, 6 things that increase devotional service, 6 types of association with devotees, and 6 aspects of surrender. That's how we go. Maya is hitting 3 6s, we also do 3 6s. What is ISKM's stand on astral travel? If the soul really does go outside of the body during such an out-of-body experience, should people pursue it as a goal? You don't have to pursue it. You will be out of your body after this death. You will. Tatha dehantara praptir. Your deha will go and then you will go out of body experience and you will go another body. You will have out of body experience and you will have going inside a body experience also after that. You will go into another body. So that is not the goal. The goal is to completely give up all bodies, where gross and subtle also given up and go. That out of body experience we want. That is in the spiritual world. What is that? 2-line verse. Gross and subtle bodies. Liberation. Liberated. I always forget this. The definition of liberation. Is just a 2-line verse. That it means liberation from gross and subtle bodies. Oh, Krishna. I may not. I don't know if I can find that. Anyway, I don't want to waste your time. There is this verse like that. So that out of body experience, we want out of all material bodies. Why only out of this body and then come back to this body for what? Out of this body and out for good. No more coming back into this body or another body. Go back to spiritual world. That out of body experience we want. That is the real out of body experience. Out of all material bodies. How does one know if their vocation is to take up preaching full time? Everybody's vocation is to take preaching full time. Some are doing it, some are not. That's all. Everybody's vocation is to join full time and surrender to the Lord. That's all our vocation is. Some are only doing it. Vast majority are not. If you do it, that's good for you. Krishna is calling, when he says Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja, he is telling that to everyone, to the whole world. So he is calling everyone to take full time, become full time, full on surrender devotee. But how many are listening to it and how many are not listening to it? It's not that how does one know if that is the only thing we should do. But if I am not ready, then okay, then take one by one, step by step. But actually that is the goal. But anyway, I should just decide. If I have a strong desire to do it, I should just do it. I should just find my ways. And actually, we cannot do it, honestly. We cannot do it on our own. We should pray to Krishna, please give me, like Raghunath Das Goswami. He wanted to run, but every time he was caught and brought back. Then Nityananda Prabhu, when he put his foot on his head and said, you don't behave like a madman, you wait and you pray to Krishna and wait for his mercy, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, and then when his mercy will be there, then you will come. And because he had the Nityananda's feet on his head, eventually he behaved very nicely for I think 1 or 2 years, and then he got the chance and he ran. And this time he was never caught and he ran. So even if we want to surrender, we cannot surrender unless we have, just like if to want approach Krishna, we need the Balram strength. The 6 Shadgarbhasuras were killed in the Devaki's womb, and then Balram came, purified the womb, and then Krishna came. It looks like, oh, she had a miscarriage, but actually it was on purpose. Balram came, purified the womb, and then Krishna came. So similarly, our heart is always with this, nonsense. Now it has to be cleansed, Cheto Darpan Marjanam, by chanting, and then we're chanting Hare Ram also, because Balram has to purify us. So Nityananda Prabhu's mercy we have to have. Then yes. So we really have to pray for the mercy of Gaurnita. And Prabhupada, of course. Prabhupada is the representative of Nityananda Prabhu. So like that. And then pray really, really hard. We should desire it strongly. That's the first thing. We should absolutely strongly desire it. And if I don't have the strong desire, okay, then I'm not ready for full time. But I should have the strong desire. If I read Prabhupada's books more and more, I will get the strong desire. So, read Prabhupada. The more you connect with Krishna, the more your desire to join full time will be. The more you not connect with Krishna, the more you want to go away from Krishna. Or not, okay, let me keep my distance from Krishna. Oh, Krishna will keep distance. He'll keep you very, very far. You stay in the material world. You don't come to me. We want to keep our distance from Krishna, right? I don't want to join full time. I want to keep my distance. Krishna says, why this much? Yeah, I'll keep you at a very far distance in this material world. In the material world, you won't stay. So, choice is ours. Ye yatha mam prapadyante, tam tathaiva bhajamyaham. Also, in regards to sin, inquiry, many devotees inquire apachit with. Yeah, there is an accidental fall down, not intentional fall down. Intentional sins, he is caned like anything. He is nicely given, like repeated sins. Yeah, he will get repeated punishments. Intentionally repeated sins. Oh, I am chanting Hare Krishna, so I can do any repeated. Yeah, repeated punishments you will get before you can understand that what you are doing is all the repeated things are wrong, and then once you get purified, yeah, then yes. But Krishna knows how to give. Yeah? It's the most offensive mentality actually. Baladev Vidyabhushan notes in Bhagavad-gītā, Jivas who fell hate Krishna. Yeah, we hated Krishna. Any comments on this hate? Enough comments on this hate. We have to come how to love Krishna now. We have all our lives, millions of lives, we have talked about only about hate only. All we commented was hating God. Now we have to come to love God, love Krishna. So, is it a strong word? No. It is the right word. We hated Krishna. Now we have to love him. Prabhuji kindly recommend some important books on the importance of significance of Harinam and chanting of Harinam. Just read Prabhupada's books. Prabhupada once asked, why I am writing those books? Disciples said, I am because you want us to know about Krishna, because you want to make us devotees, and all that is fine. But actually, what is the real reason why I am? So that we can get convinced. Okay, convinced of what? Become devotees. Okay. Prabhupada said, I am writing these books to convince you to chant Hare Krishna. To convince you to chant Hare Krishna. So you want important books on chanting, significance of Harinam and chanting, just read Prabhupada's books. You will be convinced of chanting Hare Krishna. For sure. Of course, there is a Harinam Chintamani of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, which we did extensive classes on, a series of classes on Harinam Chintamani, which is very, very important for all devotees to know. And they are there, that kind of things. But just reading Prabhupada's books itself will give you a strong thing to chant. Inspiration. CC Adi 941. One who has taken his birth as a human being in the land of Bharatvarsha should make his life successful and work for the benefit of all other people. Yeah. That's another order by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Full time. How do we know? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu already given us. We are only not taking up the job. Vacancy is there. Unlimited vacancy. Nobody is taking up. Namamrit compilation of Prabhupada books. Yes, that is also very good. But you see, you can read the book, but you just read any book, Prabhupada book. Just read any book, and you will always know. And of course, there is a Namamrita book, compilation of Prabhupada's quotes on Harinam, on chanting and all this. Good, always good also. That is also good. Muktir hitva anyatha rupam sarupena vyavasthati. Muktir hitva anyatha rupam. Okay, that is there. No. There is another verse. Liberation means to get out of the gross and subtle bodies. I'm because out of body, right? I want to mention that out of gross and subtle. That mukti hitva anyatha rupam, that is 2.10.6, which is actually it's a 4-line verse. But this is actually only a 2-line verse. There's no other lines, only 2 lines. So that one is. I should remember the Sanskrit next time. It is somewhere in the 4th canto, if I don't remember. If I'm not making a mistake, it's somewhere in the 4th. I think so. I totally concur. Okay. So then what else? Rohit Savant. My question is, what should be the relationship of a devotee with money? Just like Hanuman had the relationship with Sita. What is the relationship? He wanted to bring Sita back to Ram. Whereas Ravana's relationship with Sita, he wanted to enjoy her. So actually, who is related to Sita? Ram. So the devotee's relationship is that he wants to bring Sita back to Ram. Ravana also went in search of Sita. Hanuman also went in search of Sita. One wanted to enjoy, one wanted to bring them back to Ram. So our relationship with money is same. Sita is Lakshmi. Lakshmi is money. Money is Krishna's property. So it has to be brought back to Krishna. We should chase money. Just like Hanuman went in search of Sita, so we will go in search of money and bring it back to Krishna. That doesn't make us money-minded, that makes us Krishna-minded. Just like Hanuman was Ram-minded, he was not Sita-minded. But he went in search of Sita for Ram. Whereas Ravana was Sita-minded without Ram. And that was what caused his fall down. So that's our relationship with money. Everybody has stolen money from Krishna and they are keeping it with themselves. We have to extract that money and give it back to Krishna and help them, purify them. And use that money in Krishna's service to propagate his glories even more, so that more people can be reached and more money can be siphoned from them and give it to Krishna, and so that more glories can be chanted, more books can be printed, more temples can be constructed, more devotees can be made, and more money, so that more devotees can go out and extort more money from the materialists. In this way, one day there should be nobody with money with that is being misused. That is our mission. We want to extract every single cent out of these people and give it to Krishna. So that is our mission in this Krishna conscious movement. We have to rob every single money out of there, not rob, in our own way. Hanuman was powerful enough so he could by force do it, but we are not so powerful. But we will adopt a begging policy. But whatever it is, we have to take every single cent out of their hands. Every single cent out of the trillions and trillions of dollars that they are talking about and moving here and there, we have to take every single cent that is in movement, everything we have to give it to Krishna. That is our relationship with money. Picture hub. Prabhuji, if someone goes to hell, can't they take Lord's name? Because I was a video of ISKCON devotee. I saw a video of ISKCON devotee. He said, if you ever go to hell, take God's name. So if someone goes, they will take his name. Help. Yeah, they can. That's why even in hell, if you chant, you can definitely be. First of all, your hellish suffering will reduce, and eventually you will be put in a very this thing. But people don't remember there. People are all sinful backgrounds this way. They don't remember Krishna and they don't remember his name also. Hellish people don't remember God's name. For example, a person in North Korea, say for example, how he will know Krishna's name? He is so far away. Yes, if he chants Krishna's name, he will be delivered, yes. But how will he know Krishna's name? He is so far away. Far away means not by distance, by there is no way he can know, almost. So in hell, they are like that. North Korea is nothing compared to hell. North Korea times million, maybe that is comparable to hell. So just imagine how they will know that Krishna's name I have to chant. Most people don't know. Vast majority in hell, they do not know. They are so sinful. In their whole lives, they never thought about God. So when they go to hell, how will they know that Krishna's name? Unless some devotee goes there and preaches. Just like in America, nobody knew what they were doing. Hellish life they were leading. But Prabhupada went and told them, hey, chant Hare Krishna. Then, oh, okay, chant Hare Krishna. Then woke up from their slumber. So, similarly, unless some devotee goes, they have no chance. Okay. I saw a video of ISKCON devotee regarding hell. He said, if you ever go there, take Lord's name, why not? So why not Narakavasis, that they immediately be out of Naraka, we offer here Harinam glories. Yeah, as I said, 3:25:23. Oh, no, 33. Okay, wrong verse. Okay, sorry. Okay, I still don't have that verse. Somewhere it is there. Anyway. Roji, please explain 262 where in purport Kartikeya was born when Shiva was agitated by Parvati. When Lord Shiva is referred to Bhagavan in Bhagavatam also. Yeah, so Lord Shiva is in connection with Durga. And so, senses, yeah, he can bewilder us at any time. Even Lord Shiva. So it is to show that even as a person as powerful as Lord Shiva, still he can be, this with the Maya. He can be enamored by Maya, although he is actually very powerful. It's just to show us if Shiva can, Brahma they can become lured by Maya, so how much careful we should be. That is the whole point. Okay? You can read 10, 33, 29 and onwards until 36. Then you will understand Bhagavatam 10, 33, 29. Let's just go there. Because this class is going very, very long. So I don't know when I will stop. Because I have a lot of rounds to chant still. I have 16 more rounds to chant, by the way. 10:33. Yeah, Shri Shuka uvāca dharma vyatikramo drishta ishvaranam jazāsam tejiyasam nadosha vahne sarvabhujo yatha. The status of powerful controllers is not harmed by any apparently audacious transgression of morality we may see in them, for they are just like fire which devours everything fed into it and remains unpolluted. So I'll just read the English, you can read the Sanskrit later. One who is not a great controller should never imitate the behavior of ruling personalities even mentally. If out of foolishness an ordinary person does imitate such behavior, he will simply destroy himself, just as a person who is not Rudra would destroy himself if he tried to drink an ocean of poison. So the statements of the Lord's empowered servants are always true, and the acts they perform are exemplary when consistent with those statements. Therefore, one who is intelligent should carry out their instructions. When these great persons who are free from false ego act piously in the world, they have no selfish motives to fulfill, and even when they act in apparent contradiction to the laws of piety, they are not subject to sinful reactions. How then could the Lord of all created beings, animals, men and demigods have any connection with the piety and impiety that affect his subject creatures? Material activities never entangle the devotees of the Supreme Lord who are fully satisfied by serving the dust of the lotus feet, his lotus feet, nor do material activities entangle those intelligent sages who have freed themselves from the bondage of all fruitive sections by the power of yoga. So how could there be any question of bondage for the Lord himself, who assumes his transcendental forms according to his own sweet will? So, point is, there are examples to make us alert again of the danger of Maya, that's all. And told my sister that asked your brother to contact him, but he is dead. What is that? I told you about my friend who committed suicide. He came in my dream and asked me to come with him. I said no and started chanting in dream. But now he came in my sister dream. Continues. And told my sister that asked your brother to contact him, but he is dead. So maybe he's trying to reach out, Ask your sister to chant. So, yeah, they may become ghosts. This can happen. So just ask her to chant. So then he will not come. He will not be able to come. And maybe he will become purified. Because if he is thinking about you and you are devotee, then he will become purified by thinking of a devotee. So in that way, help him. So make your sister also devotee. Ask her to chant. Okay, why can some humans see ghosts, but why there are no humans who have seen any of the demigods? It is an effect of Kali Yuga, yes. It is stated already that when Buddha came, he preached Nastic, and that's when they stopped sacrifices, and that's when the demigods stopped coming here. That's why the wives of the demigods, it is said there that the wives of the demigods actually pray for Buddha to come so that the yajñas of the earth will be stopped and the husbands don't leave their home. That means they don't leave their wives. They can always have their husbands by their side, because if there's always some yajna here, yajna there, then demigods will have to go there, and then these wives, they will miss, their husbands. So in this way, the wives of the demigods are so selfish that they are praying that the yajna be stopped. They are praying to the Supreme Lord, please stop the yajna process. Saha yajna praja srishta. Krishna created this world and created the yajna to purify us. Here the wives of the demigods praying, Krishna, please come as Buddha and stop this yajna process. Just to see how women, even in heavenly planets, women are less intelligent. So then that's how Kali Yuga, this thing happens. Okay, Prabhupada instructed to chant at least 16 rounds. Does that mean he wanted more number of rounds from us? And if yes, what should be the ideal number of rounds a devotee should chant? 16 million. So Prabhupada said, once the devotee asked, Prabhupada, how do we know that we are chanting good rounds? Prabhupada said, rascal, what is good? Chanting good round means why stop at 16? 16,000, 16 million rounds. Why should stop at 16? That is called quality rounds. If I cannot chant extra rounds and more rounds, there's no quality. So that doesn't mean again we imitate. We cannot imitate Haridas Sagar and chant 192 rounds. We cannot. So this has to come naturally. So we at least do the 16 rounds and engage in other services, and slowly by and by we become purified, and then we want to chant more and more. That's how it goes. Alright, I think I'll stop it there because it's very, very late, extremely late. Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki Jai, Bhagavad-gītā ki Jai, Ananda Gaudiya Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanand. Wow, 25 people of you are still here. Rajat Gupta, Hare Krishna, please explain the difference between Sri Hari, Sri Vishnu, Narayan, Sri Ram, Sri Krishna and their role in the material and spiritual world. Thank you for the lecture request. All are same. Okay, all are same. Their role in material and spiritual, they are the overall overlord of, that's the point here. Adhibhūtaṁ, adhidaivaṁ, adhyātmaṁ, everything. He is the Lord of everything, adhiyajñaḥ. So we have to serve him. He is the origin of everything and he is the end of everything. We have to serve him. That's the whole thing. Okay, finished. Thank you very much. I'm not going to wait for any more questions. Hare Krishna.